What's happening, everybody? Welcome to the show. We are your host, Chase and Myles. We are at the Lucky Duck. Myles, please let everybody know who we have back on today.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Tom Brady. See, I told you.
Yeah, we got him.
No, you all know him. It's AJ. He was on which podcast?
Our Christmas episode.
Christmas episode, that's right. So back in December, we talked a lot about chiropractic. Since then, AJ is just still going to school, learning more, but you've learned a lot more since, right? So I think today we're going to talk a bit more about that, have some fun, talk about going on hikes, right? We went on a hike today, so it should be a good time.
Welcome back, AJ.
Oh, well, thank you very much. I'm happy to be back.
Yes.
Sweet.
Always.
Yes. Wow, I can't believe you actually took up the invitation to come back after the riffling or the expose on your life that you had here. We shared some tears. We laughed.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, you mean like the last podcast? I thought you were talking about Thor and Harley.
No.
Yeah.
Here, let's crack these open. What are we drinking today, Myles?
Topo Chico.
Topo Chicos.
Hard seltzers. So it's the first time we've seen these in the store. And we had to pick them up. We always try the different seltzers from the different brands that are coming out. There's like 100 of them now. It's going to take us the rest of our lives to actually try them all. But
we're working on it.
They got some fun flavors like strawberry guava.
Yeah, this is a tangy lemon lime.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll tell you right now, it is tangy.
Right off the bat, AJ, if you were stranded in an elevator for 1 hour, nobody but you and one other person, dead or alive, who would that person be?
You ruined it, Myles. I was going to pick you. But now it's,
Everyone knows.
Yeah. No, I don't. I watched the Central Park 5. I don't know if you guys saw that, but it's those kids who were in the park and then they got wrongfully convicted of the rape of a jogger. And then recently got exonerated back in like 2014. And then they won a whole settlement against the city of New York. But the person who got it the worst was Corey Wise.
Okay.
He was tried as an adult when he was like 16. So he spent 14 years in prison from 16-year-old, like adult prison.
That's crazy.
And it was really rough for him. But I would like to meet him. We have a lot of similarities in the sense of like, I guess like who we are as people, because we're both like aggressively dyslexic and have ADHD, and he was just taken advantage of in a situation. And if you guys watch that, I recommend anybody who's listening to it to watch it, because it'll make you very upset, and it really gives you a detailed view of how the justice system is just into numbers and getting convictions instead of getting it right. But yeah, probably like Corey Wise. Yeah, I don't really have like too many like famous people where I'm like, damn.
I like that answer though. I think I ask that sometimes and I get like various answers. Like some are like Madonna.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay.
What about you?
Pick a better one. Maybe Donald Trump.
Yeah.
I don't like the guy.
Like just to see if he's
but
like
I would
really...
love to spend 1 hour unfettered access to Donald Trump, because he'll just say whatever the fuck he wants.
Yeah.
With no filter. And so I'm going to get him to say some shit about like aliens and fucking U.S. trade secrets and stuff.
That was like the hope, like Joe Rogan said on his podcast, right? Was when Trump got into office, he's like, oh, they're finally just going to unload everything about aliens. And they kind of did, but.
Yeah.
Bernie Sanders on his podcast said he would, if he got elected president, that he would tell the American public of
Can
UFOs
he do
if
that,
existed.
though?
I mean,
he could do whatever the fuck he wants.
There's like,
Can he, though?
Well, I mean, it's kind of one of those things that you see in, I mean, movies is the only real way you would see it, or you see like a Snowden situation where you can literally do what you want. It just depends, like, are you ready to take like the backlash on the back end of it, right?
Yeah.
So like as a president, he could say that, and then what are they going to do now? Like publicly, what are they going to do to him?
Right.
You know, he's the president, and he's like, well, people should know about this type of deal. So
Yeah, but the thing is, he lied enough to where it'd be like, oh yeah, UFOs are real, guys. I've seen the data.
Yeah.
oh, I was
Seen
talking
the
about Bernie
information.
Sanders specifically.
Oh, Bernie Sanders.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Trump. There would just be people who would be like, oh no, that's a lie. Like that's not real.
Knowing Donald
crazy.
Trump, even if he did say, yeah, there's aliens, I'd be like, aren't you telling the truth?
Yeah. Show us the proof, man.
Yeah.
Show us your
And then,
tax.
like,
Lied
Rudy
so many
Giuliani
times,
brings
I don't
some
know if I
pictures.
can believe you.
Yeah.
I don't know. Miles, what about you?
Yeah.
Elevator.
Oh, I don't know. This is such a tough one.
Yeah. Is it Tom Brady?
Yeah, Barack Obama.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Actually, maybe.
Yeah.
I mean, 8 years. The last president before Trump and Biden, obviously, but the 8 years of like some of the craziest times in the U.S.
Yeah.
The guy must have so much to talk about, right?
Yeah, but
so
he
many
won't tell
cool
you
stories.
dick. That's the thing
Yeah.
between Donald Trump and Obama.
Yeah.
His Obama's gonna be like, Miles, I cannot say
Yeah.
anything to you about UFOs or
Yeah.
aliens.
Or why I bombed so many people.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, exactly.
The
I
millions
mean,
of non-Americans that died in Iraq
Yeah.
and
so
Afghanistan.
so this isn't a situation where like everything after that doesn't matter. It's like real life right now. If you were just stuck with someone,
Yeah, I mean, dead or alive. That's the thing is that we picked
Mm.
two people that are alive still.
mm.
Is he
Yeah.
alive? Your guy?
Yeah, Corey Wise is still alive.
Yeah.
But it would also be cool, like Corey Wise would be number one, but maybe someone of like a historical status,
Mm-hmm.
like Plato or like Socrates, just to ask them and be like, hey man, was it like really that gross back then?
Yeah.
Because that's like the number one reason I would never do time travel to the past is because everything is disgusting.
Yeah.
Well, Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure does that,
Yeah.
but it's done in a very like Hollywood non-realistic way where
Yeah.
they're like, yeah, I'll teach you everything.
Yeah.
If we just somehow were able to time warp Plato or Aristotle, they'd be like freaking out.
Yeah.
They'd be like trying to kill us all.
That's so true.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. There's a lot of really interesting people in history.
Mhm.
Like Jesus Christ would be pretty cool.
Yeah.
Or whoever, like the man who was claimed to be him and like
Yeah.
Muhammad.
Yeah, exactly.
Or Muhammad themselves.
or Caesar.
Yeah. Julius Caesar,
Gandhi.
Gandhi.
Yeah.
Any
Buddha.
of the
Is Buddha a real dude?
well, he's reincarnated. So any
Buddha?
of- yeah.
Oh, okay.
Well, I'm sorry. Buddha's not. Buddha started Buddhism, but they're the Dalai Lama.
Oh, the Dalai Lama.
is reincarnated.
Yeah.
And I can't remember specifically, but I don't know if it's a reincarnation of Buddha itself, like himself or itself, whatever they would
Mm.
label him as.
Yeah.
And so he's the Dalai Lama and right now China is stopping Buddhism from getting their next Dalai Lama
Yeah.
because they kidnapped the Dalai Lama's like right hand person who is like
Oh.
supposed to be the one who names the next Dalai Lama.
Yeah.
And China's like, oh, we already found the Dalai Lama, so
Yeah.
you have to follow us now.
That's crazy.
China's a problem.
I remember learning about the Dalai Lama and that like part of Buddhism,
Mm-hmm.
and someone explained this to me. I don't know if it's true, but I believe it was my religion professor in college, and he said that the way they pick the next Dalai Lama is like the child is born who they think it is, and they give him the toys.
Yep.
Or the like the belongings
If
of the
you-
old Dalai Lama.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you've seen Avatar, The Last Airbender,
Mhm.
the way they had the selection process for Avatar when he was a child
Mhm.
is based specifically off of how the
Yeah.
Dalai Lama was chosen.
Okay.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff. I think there's a scene in Lost where they're trying to figure out this kid has like powers or whatever, where they bring them toys or sets of like. I mean, do you remember that the guy from the Dharma Institute brings over? I think maybe I'm remembering it wrong. It's been such a long time since I've seen it,
so
but
long.
I never watched Lost.
there's other well, so yeah, I think they do the same thing. They borrow that in a lot of different like folklore and stuff. But
Yeah.
one of the cool things I learned about like Buddhist tradition or ideologies is like the difference between anxiety and depression.
Mm-hmm.
And like anxiety is like focusing on what's to happen in the future, and depression is like staying and lingering on what's already happened in the past.
Yeah.
And like Buddhist monks try to teach you how to like live in the present moment, because living in the future and the past is only borrowing peace of mind in the present.
Yeah.
So that's why they like meditation, such a big thing for them, is like trying to focus on your breathing, living in that exact moment, and like trying to center yourself and not worrying about, what's to come or has happened.
Yeah, I like that. I know a few different people who do meditation.
Yeah.
Not just to do that, but other reasons. And they claim it's awesome.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So since I was like 18 or 19, so I was raised Catholic, as we talked about last time. And, I've been to pretty much like every Anglo-Saxon like type of, or not Anglo-Saxon, but every type of like
Protestant.
Traditional like Protestant church. So like Baptist,
Okay.
Southern Baptist. Yeah, just pretty much every denomination that is like Jesus believing. And I went to temple one time just to see what it was like for like a Jewish mass or ceremony. And the only one I haven't been to is like a Muslim one or like one for like Hindu.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I was just trying to figure out like what I actually believed, because the way that, God was described to me my entire life, like I just didn't really vibe with that whole thing, especially like the Catholic way of describing, who he is. So then I was just doing some reading online, and like I was just reading about different religions and everything like that. And then I stumbled across Buddhism, and what made me want to do it was the fact that it wasn't like a religion. It was more just the design of like how you're supposed to live. Mm-hmm. And I really needed that at that time. So now, if I'm anything, I would say that I'm Buddhist. And like school really messes me up, because all you do in school is like look to the future, because you have like tests coming up, assignments due, like all sort of stuff. So it just puts me on edge, because other than that, majority of my life, I'm just like pretty much, I'm just here now. Whatever you guys want to do next is cool. Like, no worries for me. That's how I try to do it, because if I don't, then my anxiety just heightens up to like 12, and it just messes with me. So yeah
it's interesting. When I learned about Buddhism as well, I mean, I just took a class that talked about it, so I can't really speak for all of Buddhism. I'm sure there's good parts and bad parts about it. But from what I learned, I thought it was a pretty cool lifestyle that a lot of people live who are Buddhist, or just some things to take away from their teachings that can help in your life, even if you're Jewish or Catholic or whatever.
Oh yeah, for sure. Like that, I think that's the best part about like Buddhism, is it's something you could bring into any like faith that you chose to have, because it literally is all just designed on like how to make you a better person and just like enjoy your life as it goes on. It doesn't affect what you believe spiritually or religiously.
I think they focus a lot on happiness.
Yeah.
So like when you're making choices about things, it's not necessarily black and white. And they really look into ethics, the ethics of things. And seeing like naturally what is right and wrong. Like, are people born evil? Are they taught evil? Just because you're religious, are you better than someone else?
Right.
So
where does the term nirvana come from? Is it Buddhism or is it Hinduism?
Can look that one
look
up.
that up.
Yeah, I think it might be Buddhism, because that's like what Buddha was trying to reach. Because their whole idea is like you're trying to get the best state of being you can have in right now.
Yeah.
And then by doing that, you prepare yourself for whatever the next step is. Because their whole thing, like, they've believed in the idea, or, Buddhism believes in the idea that there is something more. We're not 100% sure what it is, but we should just do everything we possibly can to prepare for whatever that's going to be. And then they were like, well, how do we make it to where this time here, while we live here, is the most enjoyable? Because there's a lot of things that go wrong. People starve. People get sick. People get murdered, like things like that. They're like, how can we make it to where we can enjoy what we're doing now and still prepare ourselves for like whatever may come next?
Yeah. You actually hit it right on the head. So it comes from a lot of the different Indian religions. So like Buddhism, Hinduism, Jainism. And it says that it represents the ultimate state after rebirth. So like in a lot of those religions, like AJ was saying, you're reborn into a higher class. And you continue doing those things you're supposed to do in that class to move into the next, to be reborn into the next class, right? Until
it's like
nirvana.
all stages. And then like you hit nirvana for whatever your life cycle is. So like everyone has a different point when they just like stop. At least that's what things I've read. It could be.
I'm sure it could be
wrong.
different.
Yeah, it's probably
the
there's
different
probably
religions.
yeah, dude. There's different for
Yeah.
everything. Because like for different things, like in different religions. So like if you were Muslim and you don't eat pork, if you got reincarnated as like a cow, that would be like a good thing type of deal, right? I'm pretty sure, not 100%. Like,
But the logical flow.
yeah, but like the logical flow of it. But if you lived like a bad life, you'd come back as like an insect and live out your life, and then you'd have to like build your way back up to being like a human, things like that.
Yeah.
If you wanted to come back as something, what would you come back as?
Something that's here.
Yeah,
like
I mean,
Earth?
you talk about being reincarnated as a cow or an insect.
Oh,
What would be your preferred reincarnation? Back in the same get up?
either that or something like a manta ray.
A manta ray?
Yeah, a manta ray.
Nice.
Or maybe a cheetah, because cheetahs are dope. They're like a weird dog hybrid cat thing, so
Yeah.
they're super cool. I'd like to be a cheetah. I mean, they can run faster, that's cool, but they always just seem to be like super chill all the time until it's time to eat.
I think that'd be something that can fly.
Yeah.
Like maybe a bald eagle or a hawk or something.
Yeah, for sure. What about you, Chase?
I think for me it would be shit. I'm getting texts. Just I got this new
Oh.
MacBook, so I'm trying to.
I'll be Chase.
Yeah.
I think I would probably be me because I'm fucking awesome.
Superman count? Wolverine? Can I be a fantasy character? No. Yeah. I mean, I like the idea of becoming like of something that's got wings, can fly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Peacock.
I feel like, yeah,
No.
well, I mean,
We
A
talked
male
about that last
peacock?
time.
Or like a penguin.
Yeah.
yeah, I saw.
No, I probably like I don't know what's pretty like dominant that doesn't have to worry about
Hawks.
food. Hawks,
Yeah,
owls,
well, owls kind of, but owls are really stupid.
bears. Bears are kind of
Bears are dope.
dominant.
Moose
Moose. Ooh.
Moose.
I could be a
Moose
moose.
is also, but they're
That's not
also
bad.
pretty dumb too.
I
So-
feel like it'd be super boring though.
yeah, because
just walk
like
around in the
mooses, they're
forest.
just kind of like chilling all the time, and then they get startled and
Yeah.
they like fuck shit up, and then they go back to just.
Dude, nothing is fucking up a moose.
Oh,
Half the time,
I've
not
seen
even humans
videos of
fuck
a
with
bear.
moose.
I've seen videos of a grizzly bear just swipe a moose and break its back. It's
Really?
like showing no effort. Yeah.
Jesus.
Oh yeah.
Grizzly
A bear
bear
does?
You could be a grizzly
yeah,
bear.
bears are
I guess it kind of
incomprehensibly
Yeah.
like powerful.
But the thing is, yeah, if you're a moose, it's like imagine if you like you as you right now, you're just walking like New York City, and then somebody startles you and you just gore them,
Yeah.
and you have to live it like that for the rest of your
But
life.
they don't.
So
They
imagine
just
just
like
being
forget.
a moose.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
just bounce on. They're
Yeah.
just like, oh, something happened, but I don't remember.
I saw this video of Bear Grylls.
Is it gorillas? I
Is
thought it
it?
was just grills.
Is it Grills?
I don't know.
I don't
That's
know.
why I asked.
I don't know either.
We're talking about like the guy on Discovery.
Yeah,
or whatever.
the guy that
nature
got
guy.
busted for
Faking his thing.
faking stuff.
It was real quick. It was fake for me the moment he was out in like Scotland or somewhere, and he found an old shipwreck, and then he found this perfectly white rope.
That's great.
He's like, hey,
yeah.
look at this, untouched by nature.
Yeah. But
There's this video I saw the other day where he was trying to find some food, and he comes up on this like beehive, and he's like, bee, that means honey's
saw this.
nearby. And then he grabs breaks off the honey and gets stung like right above his eye, on near his eyeball or eyebrow. And then so he's like, oh, so worth it. And he's crunchy. He's like, oh, so sweet. Bears love honey. And then it cuts to like another shot of him, and his whole face is like swollen shut. And he's like, I can barely look at my eyes. So worth it from that honey, though.
Totally.
Yeah.
Sounds like it. You just killed some bees.
Yeah. Oh, that's true. Yeah, because once the bee stings you, it dies.
Yeah.
It's like a suicidal mission.
Yeah, we were at the dog park over by where we used to live in St. Louis, and I stood on one of the light poles there. And I was just standing there, and I tapped it, just a couple times, and there was a wasp nest inside there, and they came out and destroyed my ankles.
Whoa.
So I was like, I got stung a lot. My ankles were just super swollen, and I was like sick for like 2 weeks.
That's crazy.
Because I got stung so much. Like if they decided to keep
Whoa.
going, they probably would have like
What a weird place to get stung too.
ended me. Yeah, I was like, this should have been sprayed.
You know what will fuck
yeah.
you up? Yellow jackets.
Or
Oh,
murder
dude.
murder
Yeah.
hornets.
Yeah.
Murder hornets? Well, yeah, that's a whole nother thing. Yeah, and I remember getting attacked by because they live in the ground, and so you can just step on a nest unknowingly, and they'll come out and fuck
I stepped
you
on
up.
one and I got it in
Yeah.
between my toes. When I
Really?
was a kid. Yeah.
Ooh.
But it was
That
only
sucks.
one. I got lucky.
Yeah.
Because they usually, but I killed it too when I did it because I like crushed it when it stung.
You're all happy about this.
Crushed it with
I was
between
like
your
6,
toes.
so I was like losing my mind. I didn't know even what happened.
I don't know if those give you like a similar reaction when it comes to like, I think it's just painful to sting. I don't know if you get swollen.
I think if you get stung
or-
by too many, you'll die, right?
Yellow jackets? I think you can if you're a young kid.
That happens with like bees and
Yeah.
like,
Spiders.
Also, yeah.
You ever
What?
see the people
Yeah.
though that just don't have anything on? And the bees are like all over them, and they're
Well,
they're
bees are
harvesting the honey.
naturally like super chill. The only reason
Yeah.
they'll like attack you is because they think you're threatening the hive. That's why everyone's like, stop killing bees because they
Yeah.
could be around your house and they won't do anything to bother you.
Right.
Yeah, but the thing is, this lady that I know Miles is referencing, she'll just pick up the hive and put them in those little boxes.
Mm.
Yeah.
How are they not pissed off about that?
think
Oh,
they-
well, that's different. One, those have been raised in that type of
No,
captivity.
no. She comes,
Mm.
she gets called to go to houses
Oh, I
with
think I've
Yeah.
seen
bee
that.
nest
I saw that in, like, Lab Bible or
infestations.
something.
I think she
Yeah.
smokes them.
Oh,
Or
really?
use some kind of
Oh, like a sedative?
smoke.
Yeah, that's
it
what
calms
they
them
use.
down, so
Oh,
they
so
don't
she
get
doesn't
angry.
she doesn't show that, does she?
I don't think so, but I think that's
okay.
how they do it because
I
I've looked
think-
at the comments.
I think if you, I don't know, maybe if you approach the hive in a calm enough fashion and you start to do stuff, because I think beehive bees are different than those types of bees that will like make colonies in like old wood and stuff like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, she was like breaking up. I think it was like a patio, like a wooden patio, and they had
Yeah.
like nested right under
Yeah.
there.
She'll just take her hand and like push them all into
yeah,
the
like, scoop
bucket or
them up
whatever.
like, and they're all in her like palm. She like
I guess maybe
throws
it's
them
just
in.
like your intention, like when doing it. Like if you
Could
come
be.
in like, oh, I'm gonna mess you up.
The
they're
bee
like,
whisperer?
"Whoa."
the
Yeah,
bee
but if you
whisperer.
come
They
in
can
nicely,
tell.
like, hey, how's everybody doing?
What's
Yeah.
up, guys?
Yeah.
She like sits down and reads them Harry Potter book stories before. They're
And
like,
she
oh,
buzzes
she's cool.
after every word, so I understand what's going on.
Yeah, that's weird. Oh, you know what we saw today?
Mm.
What were they? What kind of owl?
Oh, they were the stone, like night stone owl or something like
No.
that.
Barn
No.
shoe?
No,
Usually
Barn
that's a-
shoe?
that's a
No.
thing,
They were
right?
just
What
they
kind of
were
name is that?
for anybody who knows owls who would be listening to this.
Tons of people.
Yeah, they were the owls that have really long,
ears.
like eyebrow
Oh, that's
feathers.
what it is.
Oh yeah,
here.
right.
And I'm assuming they're probably indigenous to Colorado, of course.
Mm.
But yeah, we saw them, and it was the mom and the 3 of her.
Yeah, they were up
children.
in in the rocks. We were at Red
Yeah.
Rocks,
Yeah.
and in one of the big rock formations, there was like a cutout, kind of like a little mini cave.
Mm-hmm.
They were just sitting in there with their nest.
Yeah.
This guy told us that they've been coming there for at least 6 years because they mate for life.
Mm-hmm.
The
So
same owls.
Yeah, they made for
Wow.
life. Yeah.
That's crazy. They're like, I think I'll stay here. Sounds good.
That's like humans, right?
Dude, I wonder if they migrate. This is just a seasonal home thing.
Maybe not, because they were pretty like heavy on the feathers, so they seem like they're probably prepared for winter type of deal.
Yeah,
Miles, what are you looking up?
I was
Different
looking
owl
at owls,
species.
man. Yeah.
There's a lot of them. Owls are
Oh,
badass.
was it horned owl?
Yeah, it was. I think it was a horned owl.
Because they have like that
yeah
thing.
It could have been a horned owl.
I'm always afraid of letting my cats outside
Dude, they'll snatch
because
'em.
I've seen owls around here.
Bro, they'll snatch him.
Right? I don't know if he'll snatch my big cat Thor,
He'll try.
but my little cat.
He'll just have a bunch of claw marks on his back one
yeah,
day.
Bro,
it's
they'll
like,
try.
nah, he tried.
Oh.
Yeah.
They're really not smart, unfortunately.
Well, owls?
Yeah, people
Really?
say that they're really wise, but they're not.
That's
They-
the
they
the
have one of
fallacy.
the smallest brains for bird animals.
Mm.
You guys ever seen the
Interesting.
legs of an owl?
They're
Yeah,
creepy.
They're creepy. They can sit
Yeah.
crisscross.
Really?
Yeah, you can look it up. Eagle
Yeah.
sit in, owl sit and crisscross.
Can eagles do it
You
too?
know a lot about owls, man.
I like owls. I would love
Okay.
to like have an owl. That's the only bird that I would ever want to own. Like I don't want like a toucan or a parrot or anything like that because they would just annoy the shit out of me. But an owl would be dope.
You ever see the videos of people with pet owls?
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of cool.
I think that's where I saw them sit crisscross.
Hmm.
But it could have been Photoshop too.
Yeah, I don't know if I would want an owl pet. I think you had to like. It's kind of like owning a snake in terms of the feeding, right? Because you have to feed it like small rodent animals, right?
Yeah.
Is that right?
Cats.
Like cats?
Yeah, or cats. Yeah.
Or cats.
Yeah. Yeah, that would be kind of disturbing.
Well, I mean, it's like owning a snake. Like I said, I think they feed them in the same way, probably. Or
Yeah, I would never own a snake. But
I feel
I've
like
got a lot of friends who
good
like
thing
an
to have
owl.
if you have a mouse problem in your house, though, right?
True.
an owl would be not a snake.
Yeah.
No,
Hey, just let the snake loose in your house.
well, no, snakes. Like, I really don't understand people who own snakes. Like,
They're
it does-
weirdos for sure.
Yeah,
what do you do
because
with it?
well, it's not only, like people who are like, oh, this snake
The-
loves me, and it's just like, no, like you're.
Snake
Yeah.
loves food.
That
You-
snake is not cuddling you.
Yeah,
It's slowly
it's-
killing you.
Yeah,
It wants to
it's
eat
way,
you.
no, it's. I read a thing one time of a lady who had a ball python, like
Yeah.
a big python, and she used to sleep in bed with it, and then the python didn't eat for like 3 weeks, so she took it to the vet, and she's like, hey, it's not eating. He's like, well, what have you been doing with it? And she's like, oh, we've been sleeping for longer. He's like, stop doing that immediately. He's not eating because he's trying to make room for you.
Oh,
So-
snap.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah, and then especially like people who, well, I mean, people owning snakes is the reason that the Everglades are ruined now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right? Because number one, like in my opinion, if you want to own a snake, cool, but you should have to have some type of licensing and checkup.
Mhm.
Not because like I want your freedom gone, but just because like you
If
can see what happens when it goes
Yeah.
unchecked.
Yeah, I think it's the python that is
in the Everglades,
taking over.
Well,
that
yeah,
That's
because
area.
you can just
Anaconda down
go,
there.
you can go to the store and buy a python with no.
Yeah.
Now
trouble.
they're like illegal in California and a lot
Oh.
of different states,
Yeah,
but I don't know if they're illegal in Florida where
No.
the problem
don't think
actually like mostly exists.
no, they should have
right?
been illegal.
Mm.
They should, in my opinion, they should be, and it's not because like, oh, I don't want you to like have happiness, but it's just like
'Cause it's
snakes
an
are not
environmental
pets, man.
issue.
It's like having a crocodile and being like,
All
yeah,
the
that's my
libertarians
pet.
right now are yelling at you.
Yeah.
that's fine.
Government shouldn't tell me whether or not I should own a snake or not.
It's-
God damn it!
It's fine, but if you accidentally release your snake, then like,
Penalty.
yeah, an eye for an eye kind of thing.
Oh yeah,
There's
no
take
way
your
to-
snake.
Yeah, it would just be hard to regulate that
Cut,
unless you
cut off
tag
an
it.
arm.
Yeah, cut
I
off.
don't know.
I was thinking, the penis, but
I'd say just put them down there. You know, the problem is in the Everglades right now is, so they pretty much have like open season on the pythons down there because
Yeah.
they need people to go in there, and they're paying like
Mhm.
premium dollar
Yeah.
to get them out. But you go down there, those snakes are so starved they hunt you down now.
the snake will
This
like it in the movie
groups.
Anaconda.
Yeah, in groups, bro. Like you'll go out there, and if you see one, then that means that there's probably like 3 or 4
Yeah.
others ready to take you out.
Ugh,
Oh,
that's
you'll
so
see
nasty.
every other day. Every other month. There's like a photo that circulates online from some random
Yeah.
pack of dudes just
Yeah.
found this 15-foot python in the Everglades.
But
and you're like,
what they don't know is like that foot. They're seeing that 15 foot, but there's a bunch of other ones
Yeah.
who are just waiting for you to fuck up.
You ever
it.
seen the pictures of the snakes that are trying to eat the alligator and they
Yeah.
just like, explode?
Yeah.
Mhm.
It's crazy.
Yeah, when they eat something too big that they can't digest,
I
and they
saw-
just die.
I saw a pelican eat a baby crocodile or alligator.
Oh yeah.
I don't know if he
I
ended
saw
up
that
keeping
too.
it, but I just saw like a thread of it, like holding it there and basically choking it out with its beak and then swallowing the whole thing. And you could see like the tail out the end. So I don't know if he ended up, vomiting back
That's
up.
crazy.
But I just saw that. I was like, wow. All right. Everglades are getting rough.
So how
Yeah.
long does it take till we see these things become even larger than the ones in Anaconda, the movie series? Like, at
Well,
what point?
they have a lot of actual inbreeding happening right now
Mm,
to where you have different species of pythons breeding with each other because they just have these mass swarms.
mhm.
And there's also some anacondas involved. So in like 20, 30 years, I have no idea what we're going to see from there, but they really need to do something.
like true monsters coming back.
Or what about a alligator and an anaconda?
Oh man.
I
You
mean,
would get the
alligators
Loch Ness
are pretty
monster.
much already snakes just with legs.
Yeah.
Right. Loch
Yeah.
Ness monster.
Yeah.
Oh.
It was
Oh,
a
man.
thing. It was
Oh,
probably
shit.
a thing.
They were just looking into the wrong spot.
Yeah.
They needed to go to the swamp of Florida.
Exactly.
No, look, listen, like, if the snake population ever got out of control, they could end us easily.
The snakes.
Oh, yeah.
Hmm.
Not
I'm more
if we
worried
have our
about the
guns.
machine than the snakes.
The what?
I'm equally worried about both, in my
Oh.
opinion.
Yeah?
Because, yeah, no,
Snakes
because
can't. Snakes can't handle guns.
that's okay, because they
We've
can
got-
hide.
We've got 400 million guns in the United States.
That's good.
and
That's good.
I think we could easily eviscerate the snake population.
Do you think that?
It's like
but they could just hide wherever they want.
Instead of vaccine drives, we have gun drives. Like, come pick up your gun.
Yo,
that's their plan.
Everybody thinks that the world's gonna end from like overpopulation or a virus. Nah, dog, it's the snakes.
It's the snakes, man.
Like Sam L. Jackson was onto something when he did Snakes on a Plane. He's like, this is just the beginning. They're on the planes. Next thing you know it, they're on the cruise ships. Yeah, and they're in your schools.
It's the same. So I watched. Bless you. I watched that movie Love and Monsters.
Is that a new one?
Yeah, it was. Okay. I think it was supposed to be released, and then everything with like COVID and stuff. It has
the guy from Maze Runner.
Dylan O'Brien is the main character, and basically the whole premise of the movie is an asteroid came to hit Earth, and then they shot nukes, and they blew up the asteroid and saved themselves, but the nuclear pollution from those nukes went back onto the Earth, and then it pretty much mutated all of the animals. So like goldfish were eating people. You have these monster toads. You have ants that are now the size of like tanks. So they had to go live underground and stuff, and they have to like fight them off.
If that was the case, why aren't we seeing similar mutations in other testing sites, and like in Nevada where they did a bunch of those nuke tests?
Because obviously just a movie, and in order to have something like that happen where you'll have like crazy mutations, you'd have to have like every single sequence be absolutely correct.
Oh, totally. Times, But I'm just saying, like, for real though. I wonder if there's like some crazy shit out in the middle of the desert.
There's fish with like 3 eyes and like stuff like that in places like the Ohio River and things like that, where there's been a lot of like toxic dump. There's fish who are like have extra fins, extra appendages, and stuff like that. I think it probably depends on what kind of nuclear waste it is. If it's just sludge, you don't get so much of a reaction as you do. You just get death. Where if you did like highly nuclear material that's active, maybe it would do something different.
I wonder how that affects evolution, because it seems like radiation is kind of like a quick mutation.
Usually it ends up in your death.
Body.
Most times,
yeah, because it goes so fast that it can never stabilize.
But if we're introducing radiation into our bodies throughout our lifetime, and then we can populate, is it like, are those mutations being passed on? I don't know how much it actually affects your body.
I think they determined that it doesn't pass on to children, based on the Chernobyl incident. I actually did see something recently where they said that the children are kind of okay.
Yeah, kind of okay.
I mean, I'll be honest. I read the headline.
A third arm is kind of okay.
Yeah, you know, they're healthy.
It'll be like the sewer people in Futurama.
Yeah, totally.
That's what's gonna happen. Yeah. You're gonna have some people who look like fish.
True.
Some one-eyed people.
That'd be dope.
Then there's the Hulk.
Yeah.
Who we all know is gamma radiation that helped him achieve such.
It's an entirely different radiation. It's not.
Yeah, and then we have Spider-Man, who got mutated by a
radioactive spider. Yes.
Which.
We all know how many dum-dums ended up just trying to get bit by a spider so they could achieve.
Which Spider-Man do you enjoy more? The one who can produce the webs himself, or the one who had to design the webs?
I like the one who produces the webs.
Okay. Yeah.
I don't mean it's like more Tobey Maguire. I mean like comic book wise.
Well, I just think from a practicality standpoint, it makes sense. Excuse me, that if it comes from his body, then he doesn't run out of it. Like in some of the comic books when he runs out and he has to like figure shit out.
Well, yeah, it's definitely a newer concept. So, like the Spider-Man we watched as kids, the 90s cartoon, that he just...
Device, right?
No, that was him by himself. Like
it was.
And then pretty much after that, the comic books went to a device.
Yes.
Because they started to make him more tech, like techie overall.
That's true, and that was kind of exacerbated in the new Spider-Mans, where he gets this cool suit with the spider legs that pop out, you know, in the Avengers movie.
Yeah, I don't know what they're trying to do, because in my opinion, I don't know if they're gonna just have him now start to like grow up and become more of an adult, and then he'll have his like own identity. But right now, like the Spider-Man we're seeing, like I know he's supposed to just be like a kid in high school, But the coolest thing about Spider-Man was the fact that like from like day one, he had like his own identity.
Yeah.
And he was just a smart mouth. Like,
Yeah.
you know, and then when he took the mask off, he was just this like punk little kid.
Who's your favorite Spider-Man played in the live action movies? You got 3 to choose from, right?
Yeah. So Spider-Man, like who played Spider-Man was...
Who do you think did it best?
Andrew Garfield was
Really?
probably the best Spider-Man and probably the worst Peter Parker.
Huh.
Because
Weird.
he was really good at just kind of being like a douche as Spider-Man to the criminals.
Yeah,
Like
that's
when
true.
when the guy took the knife out and he's like, "Oh my god, my weakness, tiny knives." Like,
that was
like
good.
you know, stuff like that. But then as Peter,
Yeah.
he came off like really, really arrogant, and then plus that like whole basketball scene. Like that's just, I think that was more of a writing thing than it was the actor. What is his name? Edward. I don't know. I don't remember this dude's name.
Andrew Garfield?
Yeah, the guy. Andrew. Oh shit, that's right. He was Eduardo in
Yeah.
the Facebook movie.
Yeah. Social network. Yeah. Nice.
Right.
Yeah.
I wonder if the
Switching
actors
movies.
hate that. Like, that's not my fucking name, dude. It's just
Yeah.
some dude I put.
But with Andrew Garfield, I think the writers made his Peter a little bit cockier than it needed to be. Like if you would have taken Tobey Maguire's Peter
Yeah.
and Andrew
Timid.
Garfield's Spider-Man,
Yeah.
it would have probably been the best mix. Because it's like for me, Tobey Maguire just didn't really hit it as Spider-Man because when he put the mask on, like his voice, everything like that, just made me be like, yeah, you're still kind of a dweeb. So,
I'll tell you, the best looking Spider-Man, I think, was Tobey Maguire when he had the suit on. I think they nailed the suit with Tobey.
I agree. Yeah.
I guess I like Andrew Garfield as Spider-Man, but Tom Holland's a pretty good Peter Parker. He's like kind of like unsure of himself, trying to figure himself out, trying to find his way.
That's what makes it that one interesting.
Yeah. What other superhero is more popular globally than Spider-Man?
Probably Superman is next.
Mm-hmm.
I think I saw a chart, and that's how it was.
It was Spider-Man on top.
Yeah, it was like Spider-Man, then Superman.
Batman's probably up there. No?
I think he is. I think Black Panther's up there because of its recent popularity and stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think the two biggest are Superman and Spider-Man.
It was always surprising to me how popular Spider-Man did over in like the Asian markets, like on the other side of the world. Like those movies crushed overseas.
They also
crushed it. Yeah.
They also Spider-Man was one of the first comic books to get like a manga run.
Oh yeah.
Like because you guys saw the animated Spider-Man.
Oh, so good.
Yeah,
I think they're doing a sequel now too.
Yeah,
right?
that was probably the best Spider-Man that's come out like ever. But that robot Spider-Man, like the girl who was Spider-Man because of the robot was, and then it was like also just a little spider that powered the robot or whatever.
Yep.
That was like one of the first manga run type of deals for Spider-Man in Japan, and then that like blew up.
Yeah, I didn't even know that was a thing. I thought that was something that they invented just for the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of cool.
Nice.
I appreciate that. I'm looking forward to the sequel that they do because I agree with you.
I think that's
one of the better ones.
Best part about Marvel. I think Marvel basically trying to survive for almost 15 years really helped them set groundwork to where they could continually like adapt and do cool stuff and not be limited, because like DC, they don't do anything like that.
It's weird how it all works because Spider-Man and X-Men are owned by Sony.
Yeah.
Or Fox. I think it's like Fox
So-
owns X-Men.
Yeah, but now
Spider-Man.
Disney got X-Men back.
Yeah, Disney has X-Men back, but the cool thing is like you don't have just one company trying to control the vision. You have like separate, like Sony is not owned by Disney.
No.
Which is great because Sony can have their own ideas. They can push
Like
their
with
own
Venom.
thoughts on the franchise. They'll collaborate like they did with the Avengers and do like a deal with that, which I thought was kind of cool. But I think that just creates a more like bountiful creativity like storyline if not just one entity is controlling it all.
For sure.
Well, there's that, and then there's also like Marvel does a great job of just having like fans make stuff. So I think DC's biggest problem is they get these huge directors, but instead of directors just taking what has already been made and laid out for them, they decide to like put their own twist on it, and it usually doesn't work because people are expecting it to be one way, and they're like, well, this is how I see it. And it's like, cool, we're happy you see it that way, but that's not how we want to see it.
Yeah,
especially when you see Marvel, and it's literally everything that you could want from comic books condensed into a version that's like enjoyable, because it's literally just fans making things for fans, where DC, they're trying to make things and be like gritty, and it's real world.
Yeah. I think it's and I like what DC has done where they just kind of like find these like visionary directors with their own style, like Christopher Nolan, and then you had Zack Snyder do his thing.
Yeah.
And Marvel, it kind of, they all the movies kind of look and feel the same. There's like a template, especially with the Disney and Marvel movies.
Oh yeah.
Like if you go on Disney Plus and watch all of the ones on there, they kind of, some of them are hit or miss, but for the most part, they kind of all function and look the same. Like there's no artistic difference. I'm trying to think of even an example in the Marvel universe.
I think people love that.
So yeah, they do. Well,
Yeah.
So the biggest things you can see is like Marvel started to realize, especially with like Thor 1 and Thor 2, because Thor always did well in the Avengers movies. Like people loved him. But then his individual movies, people are like,
they're garbage.
ass. Like, I don't want to watch
Yeah.
this.
The
So
first
then-
Captain America is also garbage.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
Yeah, no, I mean, it is. But yeah, that's the thing too, is like a lot of the origin stories for Marvel are pretty like just bland overall. So it's like kind of hard to, have something great. And what they've created out of that is like really good. But like then they were like, oh, okay, Thor 3, we really need to knock this out of the park. So then they're like, okay, who can we hire that can put their own spin on something but stay true to the material? And they get Taika.
Waititi.
Yeah.
Waititi.
Yeah, they get him, and he made like that's probably the best Marvel movie.
The Ragnarok.
Yeah, the Ragnarok.
Oh, it's so good.
It's so funny.
Yeah.
And it literally he put jokes in perfectly, and then they make Black Panther, and it's pretty similar in the sense that like it doesn't really follow the same trend as all the other movies, and it has its own like flow and its own feel to it, and it's really good. And then they did a good job with each individual last Avenger movie.
The hard thing is controlling the stakes. Like,
Yeah.
the stakes have to be not too high where the level of like Avengers movies are, where it's like the end of the world is coming. It has to be like in Spider-Man, the first one with Tom Holland, where it was just like this isolated incident in their like home city, where it's not big enough to catch the attention of Iron Man or any of the other superheroes. So it kind of like works in its own way, and people, it's like the stakes are just high enough for you to care about what happens.
Yeah.
To, Spider-Man.
I think that's also a problem with the DC movies right now, because like Aquaman was probably the best. Aquaman and Wonder Woman were probably the best like DC movies that
Those are my two of my at least recent ones.
like not the new Wonder Woman. The new Wonder Woman is
Yeah.
not good. But so the first Wonder Woman, the whole stakes in that is like, oh, this is World War One. So like obviously no one's really gonna know. Like a bunch of fable. It's like fine. But then you have Aquaman, and like literally the entire ocean is trying to attack the mainland, and you're like, huh.
Yeah.
So like Superman doesn't want to come help out here.
Batman has no recollection of what's happening, or doesn't know this is going on.
So like every movie I feel like with DC right now, it's like the world's ending all the time.
Yeah.
And the only person who can save them is Superman. That's my biggest problem with the Justice League. I was hoping Zack Snyder's would fix that, because the first Justice League, I was like, great. So we just watched this entire movie. We've had build up for all these other characters, and they're literally useless because DC has such this hard on for Superman, and always have, that they had to make him so OP that he can just fight everybody else. It's totally fine.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, great, Zack Snyder. Like, he'll probably change that. He'll balance things out.
Yeah.
But then it's like, if you watch Wonder Woman, especially from the comics and everything like that, Steppenwolf or whoever Darkseid lackeys were sent at her, she never had a problem fighting them. But now this dude is just yoking her and yeeting her across everything with like no care whatsoever. Like, Superman's sole purpose is to be there to fight Darkseid. That's the point. He's not supposed to be so OP that he has to save everybody all the time. It's super lame, in my opinion. and that's a problem with DC as well.
DC too also until recently had just a terrible problem of creating its own cinematic universe.
Yeah.
Like Marvel did such a good job doing that, where everything had like a tie to something else and it was leading to somewhere, and eventually like it became very apparent what the main storyline was going to be.
But they had like when people signed up and things like that, like they understood like what they were doing as like directors. They're like, this is like, here's the source material. This is what we're going with. You can work in between these areas, but these are the things that have to be there.
Yeah.
With DC, it was just like.
That's what I was wondering with all the Marvel movies is it's got to be some central control over all of them, right?
Yeah.
It's not just like different teams doing each of the different movies.
That's Kevin Fergal, whatever his name is. The guy you always see, they talk about, he's like the main producer. He oversees all of the Marvel movies the way that the guy who directed Iron Man, who was in Friends, what is his name?
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. How he's now doing that for Star Wars. So Kevin does does that for Marvel. So he makes sure that they all follow the same direction, where WB's problem is always their execs. They're just always trying to either put their own spin on it, or they don't want this to happen or that to happen. They're all just idiots.
And they're not putting enough thought into the future of their universe or something.
Yeah. And then I think there might be like some pandering aspects, because Marvel had it too, like that scene in the second Avengers movie, the Endgame movie, where like all the girls got together when Captain Marvel had the thing, and they're like, oh, she's not alone. And like it also had like Piper there, where she had an Iron Man suit on, and it literally like cut to the next scene, and it was just Captain Marvel blowing through everybody with no one's help.
Yeah, talk about
wow.
OP. It's like, where the fuck have you been? You could have saved countless of lives here, lady.
Yeah, she's like, well, Earth's not the only important planet, and it's like, okay, cool.
Yeah. How about half the universe just dying in an instance?
Yeah.
With a snap of a finger, you asshole.
Yeah, that I feel like you could have brought Captain Marvel in the next phase, just because like talking about stakes, like. It really didn't fit, because her whole character should have been able to just rock Thanos' life like by himself. I mean, Scarlet Witch pretty much did it by herself. So it's really hard. It's so much easier to scale stakes and powers and just everything animation wise than it is in like live action.
Yeah.
It's so much easier to put more characters in animation because you can give more screen time. It's cheaper, you know.
Yeah, it's also like those scenes where someone seems OP. It's also can like be cool.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Like people like that. It's like, oh my god, that's awesome. He did all that.
Yeah, when Captain America was pretty much ready, like the only one left standing, and he's like, you know what, like, cool. I guess we're dying today here. And then he has the hammer. Like,
yeah,
that was like the best scene like throughout the whole last movie.
I wonder if the production team or the story team has a hierarchy of like who's OP. Like it's like, okay, Captain Marvel, Thanos, Iron Man, Thor. No, like, you know what I'm saying? Like if Thor and Iron Man went head to head, who would win? Probably Thor, right? He's a god.
I would think so.
You would think so, but this universe, just like the comic books, have done a really good job of being able to kind of like level the playing field.
Yeah, they like tricking you in certain ways.
Yeah, to where like Tony Stark pretty much is like Batman, to where he would have a failsafe to where if he had to fight Thor. The same way he had a failsafe to fight the Hulk.
Yeah, like all the buildings in
he just has a new piece of technology that automatically makes him just as good as Thor.
Yeah,
he's like, oh well, you haven't seen my new suit.
Yeah,
presses a button.
Yeah, that's like that's the whole thing. That's Iron Man's whole thing.
Yeah, because he got his blood, right? He got Thor's blood.
So. Yeah, exactly. That's all he needed.
Wait, do gods have blood?
But also, like, my biggest thing is like what they did to Vision. He went from being so massively strong in Age of Ultron to every other movie just being
a piece of garbage.
Scarlet Witch's purse.
Yeah.
What he did to Ultron, like all his other things, and the fact that he can lift the hammer and stuff like that, and then just got straight up wrecked the entire Infinity War movie. I was like, why did they do this to him?
Yeah. I thought the same thing. it didn't make a whole lot of sense to me. But
No.
they have to. Yeah, I guess you have to do it to make it kind of work.
Yeah.
Sorry for all you people who have no idea or have never seen the Marvel movies. We've just been going off on a tangent for the last half hour and all this. And if you haven't seen it, go watch them. They're actually not bad.
Are they all on Disney Plus?
Yeah.
Some of the Spider-Man ones I think are going to be coming to Netflix because Sony just did that deal.
Yep.
With Netflix.
Okay. Yeah.
But
good for them.
Yeah, but I think they're on Disney Plus currently.
So get Netflix, Disney Plus, and then HBO so you can see some DC stuff.
Yeah. Yo,
this new Snyder cut rocks. I'm just saying.
It's way better. Like it's now a 7 out of 10 because the original was like a 3 out of 10. Yeah. So it's like way better, but there's still some obvious problems. But if you are interested and you do have HBO Max and you were like, oh yeah, let's watch Mortal Kombat, it'll be super good. And then you watch it and you're like, wow, that was super trash. You should watch the animated Mortal Kombat movie that they have on HBO Max. It's 1,000 times better.
I want to see a Flash movie with the same Flash from.
It's coming.
Yeah, I'm really excited about that because that was my favorite part.
They're going to make a Batman Beyond movie, and Michael Keaton is going to be.
Yeah, I heard that. That's so funny how it's like coming back to play.
I've been telling them. I've been saying like, if you made Batman Beyond, especially after making the Dark Knight series, like if you did anything as close to that, but with a Taron McGinnis and Batman Beyond, it would destroy in every conceivable way, especially if it's done well.
A lot of people. I remember watching Batman Beyond. It's a good show. It was so dark.
Good. Yeah,
I think that's why a lot of people liked it. It was kind of like a breakaway from the traditional superhero and leotards type of thing.
For the last thing for this, I am interested to see Robert Pattinson's Batman.
Yeah.
I don't really know what they're doing with that because it's supposed to be like on Earth 2.
Oh.
Well, DC, just like Marvel, is like heavily into the multiverse because they have to be because it allows them to do so many different things.
Yeah.
And Earth 2 is
an alternate reality of what we saw in the Snyder's cut.
Pretty much.
Snyder cut.
What about all the others?
What do you mean?
Well, it's a multiverse.
There's an explanation for any movie they want to do.
You could Google it right now, and you could be like, DC Multiverse Planet, like 1159, and they'll have all the superheroes on that planet and what their powers are, who's different. There's actually one that I wish they would make. There's one that's called The Batman Who Laughs, which basically is where Batman goes insane, like the Joker did, and he gets godlike powers and just jumps from multiverses, murdering everything.
Jesus, they've thought of it all.
Yeah.
But it's a really good comic book
I actually didn't know they fuck with the multiverse. And I didn't know that's how they were trying to explain the whole Robert Pattinson.
So Injustice, the video game series?
Oh, yeah.
That's all multiverse stuff. So that's the second one is about Superman when he decides to just become like super god.
That's the
and he's lobotomizing everybody.
That's the Mortal Kombat fighting style game, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then also Mortal Kombat and DC are in the same universe, by the way.
Of course they are.
That's why they have the Mortal Kombat
That's why they're on WB.
DCs.
That's why the HBO Max is doing all of them. Have you seen the new Mortal Kombat?
It's so bad.
Is it?
In my opinion, it's such
the story
the fight
or
scenes,
what?
the story, the fight scenes, what they did to the characters, like
the fight scenes aren't
this
good?
Cole Young character. The fight scenes, in my opinion, look, I'm someone when I see fight scenes, I would like for them to be fluid and fast. If I can sit here and watch your fight scene and I can tell someone's waiting for you, like they're helping you set up for the next punch or whatever, I'm like, okay, your cinematography and your choreograph could have been so much better. You're a $1 billion company, like step up.
Were they trying to run out time or something?
You know who has fantastic fight scene cinematography is the guy that does the Kingsman movies.
Oh yeah.
Oh my God.
Well, I think
look that up. Who does the Kingsman movies?
I haven't watched those. Are those actually?
They're yeah. The second one's not as good as the first one. I still like, and they're making a third one. It's like a prequel.
Yeah. So Oscar Isaac, who was Poe in the new Star Wars movies, is also in Ex Machina.
Yeah, I like him. Yeah.
He's gonna be Moon Knight. Which is Marvel's version of Batman, but with like actual psychosis problems. So he has like borderline personality disorder. And I think the person who's doing the choreograph for that either worked with this guy or is this guy.
Yeah. The Oscar Isaac does a really good job in this good podcast called Homecoming. Very good. It's now a Amazon original.
Oh, okay.
show.
I'll
But
have to look into that. I like him a
Kingsman.
lot.
Shout out to Matthew Vaughn, who does the Kingsman movies. Also the guy that does The Gentleman type. Can you look that up? He also is really good. He doesn't do a lot of movies, but he just came out with The Gentleman. He did Snatch.
Oh, I think I wanted
That
to see
movie.
The Gentleman.
He has a recognizable name, and I can't remember. He's also very well known for good action sequences. What's his name?
Guy Ritchie.
Guy Ritchie.
There we go.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Guy Ritchie. What a
Yeah.
good name.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
That's
Guy
like
Fieri.
perfect.
Guy
Is it real?
Ritchie.
That's like perfect for. Yeah, I wonder if he changed his name. Like,
Yeah.
because like when you enter show business, you have to pick a name out.
Yeah, I love this guy. His shit doesn't stink.
Yeah.
And that and The Gentleman, which I think is on
He was married to
Showtime
Madonna.
right now, is a very good movie, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's like Quentin Tarantino. All of his,
Uh-huh.
all the action sequences in his is good. Like Inglourious Bastards is my favorite.
Mm-hmm.
Quentin
Oh yeah, the
Tarantino
endings
movie.
of his movies are always bloody and amazing.
Yeah, when Christopher Holtz or whatever his name, the guy who played the evil SS officer,
Yep.
he was supposed to choke that lady.
Yeah.
They actually made Quentin's like, I'm gonna do it because you're doing it terribly, and then he went in there and like really choked her. Type of deal.
Fuck, he said that to Christopher Holtz.
Yeah.
He's got some balls. That guy's great.
Or is it Waltz? I don't know.
Waltz, I think it's Waltz. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what? You know what's interesting too? Netflix just inked a deal with the guys that did Knives Out.
Oh yeah, they're doing sequels.
They're doing like 2 more movies, but
That's Ryan Johnson. People shit
yeah.
on him because of the Star Wars movie he made. Which, if you watch this last Star Wars movie, you're like, oh,
maybe
maybe it
it's
wasn't
better.
that bad.
Yeah.
Maybe we should have gone in his direction.
I think Netflix bought just the rights. This isn't for like budgeting and everything. Just to secure the rights to show them and distribute them. They paid $400+ million for that deal.
Oh, I don't doubt it.
So for 2 more Knives Out movies, they paid just for the rights to them $400+ million.
How is that worth it?
That doesn't even include the budget for those movies. So you're thinking like each of those is probably minimum $100 million to make.
Well,
You're looking at like an additional $200 million on
this-
top
we
of that.
can see how much their budget was.
If people decide to buy that movie now, Netflix gets all of the money.
Yeah.
So like when the movie was originally
Knives
made
Out,
by
the
Universal,
original?
yeah, the original one, when that movie gets purchased, Universal or whoever made it got all of it. But now, if Netflix and people are like, "Oh, I'm just gonna buy that movie instead of watching it," because they'll probably put it on rent for Redbox and like all this other stuff, they'll get all that money back. So $400 million does seem like a lot, but if they're getting all the profits from merchandising and all this other stuff,
Yeah, because they had a
makes
box
sense.
office of $311 million.
I was way over on the budget.
Yeah, but I bet they spent a little bit more than that at least on the new ones. So the Knives Out was a $40 million budget.
I think Cole explained it to me. The budget, like what you see on Wikipedia, does not include like marketing and paying the actors.
yeah, I've heard that too.
Yeah.
Yeah, the budget is like specifically for like
Production.
crew and like everything that goes into production besides.
Because he was saying like, yeah, making if you box office for $40 million and your budget was $40 million, you're still not breaking even. Like people don't understand that you still have to pay your actors and you still have to like. There's all kinds of different other stuff.
Yeah, I think you want to make ideally you want to double.
Yeah.
What you so like
Well,
if
they
you
did a good
get
job.
40, you want to get 80 out of running it in theaters.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Knives Out is a fantastic movie.
I love it.
And if they box office $300 million on that motherfucker, maybe the $400 million makes sense.
Yeah.
But they'd probably break even, to be honest. Like even if they did squeeze 2 movies into like $80 million budgets.
But are they putting it on Netflix though, or it's going into theaters?
No, they'll put it just on Netflix. But
Yeah, I
again,
think it's
if
just
you want to
Netflix.
purchase the movie, or if you don't have Netflix and you want to rent it, they'll probably have it through Redbox or Amazon. Will allow you to rent it as like one of those new deals where you have to pay $20 to
Yeah, I
watch
think
it.
it's
Yeah.
they did the same thing with Martin Scorsese's The Irishman.
Yeah.
I think that also had a limited theatrical release, but you could also watch it on Netflix.
Did you guys see that
after
movie?
a certain amount of time.
No, I haven't seen
heard
I
that.
it
watched
was
like
boring.
half of it.
It was really long, isn't it?
It's very long.
Yeah.
I wasn't in the mindset when I first started watching it, so I think
That's
I
how
need
I
to-
felt about Justice
come back.
League, the new one.
Really?
I was like, man, I need to be ready for this.
It was 4 hours long, but I tell you what, I thought it should be longer.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm not ready for this.
The
to be
pacing
done.
was still a little rough at certain
Yeah, I
points.
don't know.
Yeah.
The Flash really did it for me. The way
Except
they
for the
explored
way
his
he
character.
just like ran. Like I don't just like let his arms be normal, bro. Like this like
Yeah, it was like
fanning. I thought he was like gonna throw something every time. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that was a little weird, but the whole scene is kind of visually, if you're writing that in a script and then you give it off to your like whoever the guy's in charge of like visually making that come to life, and it's like, oh my god, how the fuck are we gonna do this? That was their best attempt.
They made the
making
Flashpoint Paradox animated, so I could just watch that because animated WB DC movies are always great.
Yeah, I mean, you can do a lot more. There's the barrier to entry is so much smaller. You can have these elaborate, crazy scenes happen because you can just draw it. The budget's going to be the same no matter what.
Yep.
But this article says that Daniel Craig will probably make. It says $100, but I'm thinking they probably meant $100 million off the upcoming 2 movies.
Wow.
Yeah, just as probably a producer and actor.
Good for him.
Didn't the James Bond movie just come out that he was in?
No, they pushed it.
One. Oh, they did push it. This
Yeah.
one with
Well,
Rami
yeah.
Malek,
So it's
right?
like all the movies that were supposed to come out last summer, they got pushed indefinitely. I think they're like thinking.
Yeah,
summer.
Paramount is the only one. Like Paramount,
Yeah.
the makers, they're the only ones who like pushed all of their movie releases.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone else has either put them on HBO Max or you can watch it on Disney, things like that. But yeah, Paramount has. They're like, nah, we'll just wait.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
I can't remember who makes the Bond movies, but I think it's Paramount.
It's either that or I think maybe Lionsgate could be.
But I think
doing
Lionsgate is like
it's a Paramount company.
Yeah.
They're all owned by some like each other.
Yeah.
It's so incestuous.
Each of them kind of owns a part of another.
Yeah. That was our movie theaters are Regal theaters. There's like AMC's open, but in Colorado, Regal opens back up next weekend.
Mm-hmm.
And Miles was telling me, I think the weekend after that, Saw, the remake comes out with Chris Rock.
Yep.
I'm looking forward to that.
I am
that
too.
Sounds
Spiral. It looks actually really good. I really enjoy this. Like you saw it with Danny McBride's Halloween.
Yep.
I enjoy this like comedic actor going in and taking something that's supposed to be scary and like actually making it scary.
He was in Halloween?
No, he directed it.
Danny McBride?
He was the writer and director for that.
You're talking
movie.
about Rob Zombie?
No. I'm talking about the new Halloween was all
with
done.
like with the Jamie Lee Curtis.
Yeah, that was all done with Danny McBride behind it,
What?
making it happen.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
I was just watching Your Highness today,
Yeah.
so I'm like have this envision of
I
like
know,
Danny McBride.
You just think about him
seems
from
like an
This
idiot.
Is the End. You think about
So
him, This
funny.
Is the End.
This
Just
is
talk
the
about
end.
coming everywhere, and you're like, there's no way you
Dude,
can make that.
out of all those guys, he's probably my favorite character.
Oh yeah.
Like the
Eastbound
Danny
and
McBride
Down?
character, even in this
Yes.
show. What?
Eastbound and Down.
Eastbound and
So
Down.
good.
Oh my God, that's Danny McBride.
Yeah.
That's who I think of when I see
Who he is
If I met
as
him
a
on the
person.
street, I would think like that's
you
who
see,
he is.
Like
Yeah.
when you see Will
Kate-
Ferrell,
Yes.
you always think
Yeah.
that he's his character,
Yeah,
right?
like the
Yeah.
dumbass.
so like the two of them together are just fucking idiots.
Oh yeah. What is it? Did you ever see his K-Swiss commercials when he was being Kenny Powers from Eastbound and Down?
No.
So they get like real athletes on there for K-Swiss, and like Patrick Willis, who was a linebacker before he retired a few years ago in the NFL, and he's talking about how great the shoes are, and then Patrick Williams or what the fuck? Either way, the linebacker, he crushes some stuff and he's like, kill that motherfucker, Patrick Willis. And then they also have John Jones on there.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and stuff like that. So if you ever want to laugh at something that's ridiculous, just watch that. And it is amazing.
You know, Danny McBride and Will Ferrell could make a pretty funny movie, I think.
You'd hope, man. You'd hope, because like Will Ferrell has definitely had some like stinkers.
Oh yeah.
What's that one? The Watson.
Yeah.
Was it
Holmes and
Watson?
Yeah.
Yeah, I heard that was absolute garbage.
Yeah.
Like they should have just not released it and been like, that didn't happen.
Yeah.
That's sad.
Yeah, they can't all be winners. I mean, everyone has their things, like, you know, Jack and Jill with Adam Sandler.
Yeah, maybe
Adam Sandler has plenty of
Oh yeah,
some
likes to.
dookies.
Yeah.
Maybe Holmes and Watson would have worked like 10 years ago. Back when like Step Brothers came out. Would Step Brothers still kill it in the same way today?
I think so. There's nothing in there that's like too.
It's pretty solid.
Yeah, well, there's nothing in there that is like.
controversial.
Yeah, that's like coming down.
I
think
don't know
maybe
if I
the
mean
nutsack
in that
scene-
way. I think comedy's changed a little bit.
Oh, okay.
Like in the way like it's presented or executed in like comedies from like the early 2000s till today, comedies are way different.
Yeah.
There's less slapstick movies.
Yeah, it's more like cerebral.
Yeah,
like
it's more like dark comedy.
And you got to like think about that joke. I was thinking that too because I was just when we were watching Monty Python, I was like, this is a lot of like what today's comedy is. It's just like redirection, or you say something and it's not that.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, well, that makes sense though, because everything just has like its flow. So like this will be the thing for now, and then that slapstick stuff will come back, and then, so.
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah.
Did you guys ever watch Arizona? I think it's on Netflix or something, or Prime. With
Isn't
Danny
that what-
McBride?
No. I was thinking Raising Arizona with Nick Cage.
Mm-mm.
Yeah. I've never
talk
seen
about
that. Nick Cage.
wild person. Yeah.
I saw his in New Orleans in that old, like one of the oldest like cemeteries, there. They do like little tours, and so he did one, and Nick Cage bought like a plot in that cemetery.
He bought the ladies. You remember the American Horror Story, the Coven one?
Yeah.
He bought that lady's house, who was played by Kathy Bates. He bought that lady's house not knowing what it was. He saw a tour like that happen.
Yeah.
And was wondering why everybody was like, he thought everyone was doing it for him. And then he told someone, and then they told him the story of the house, and he like immediately sold it.
They're like, nah, doc, that's not for you. That's because of something else. So his little plot, it's kind of big comparatively to like the other plots, but he put it's like painted white, but it's a pyramid, like a 4-sided pyramid, and it's like this big monolith looking thing in the middle of this cemetery. So I saw that, and it just sticks out like a sore thumb. And the guide lady was like, "Oh yeah, that's Nick Cage's plot for when he passes." I'm like,
That's really where he wants to go.
Of course he does. Like the guy has an octopus for a pet. I think the guy just knows how to fabulously spend money.
Yeah.
Like it's no fucking
And
anybody's
always have
business.
it. And just always have it. Like, how has he not been on like Celebrity Rehab?
Right. Yeah. He has the problem. He doesn't have like I don't know if he has like a drug problem, but he has a money spending problem. That's for sure. Like what's been worse for him?
That's why he just keeps doing these the last good movie he did was that Mud movie.
That
that's
one.
what it was?
I think Mud was with Matthew McConaughey.
Okay, not Mud. It's one where he like took care of
Yes, I know what you're talking
the
about.
dude who was in Ready Player One.
Mm-hmm.
He was in that movie. Fuck, what was it?
Not White Boy Rick,
Yeah, I know.
because that's Matthew McConaughey again.
Yeah.
Why are we thinking of Matthew McConaughey?
Because they're both crazy, man.
Yeah, they're.
Should I just look up him and then like?
Yeah.
Matthew McConaughey is running for the governor of Texas. Like he's like actively running to be.
Oh, he is.
Yeah, he is.
I hope he gets it.
Yeah,
'Cause he's
And
trying to go for
and
president.
you know who's trying to become the next California governor?
Yeah.
Fucking
Arnold.
It's like go again.
What
go
is it?
again. Fucking Bruce.
Caitlyn Jenner.
Caitlyn Jenner, yeah.
Yeah. Don't dead name her.
Yeah.
This thing will get canceled before.
Yeah, I know.
This takes
We've
off.
already been canceled.
Yeah.
Yeah, Caitlyn Jenner. Yeah,
Yeah.
trying to run.
It's in Sacramento, I think.
That's the capital.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's what I mean. Like she's trying to run for governor.
Yeah.
There.
Yeah, that's super weird that like
I really hope no one votes for her. Because I'm never going to California now, especially with everything that's happened with like
Yeah.
COVID.
no.
I don't
Yeah.
want to be in that mess.
In a place where they have absolutely no idea what they're doing.
Caitlyn Jenner
Damn.
killed a dude by running him over with her car.
Yeah, South Park documented it.
Yeah.
for us. And everyone's like, "Oh yeah, it's like super cool."
Now
I
this
really-
person wants to run for governor.
Dude, I
Thinks
hope-
she's gonna clean up the fucking California
Dude,
state.
I hope
It's gonna be awesome. She knows everything.
I hope we get to a point to where we just become so comfortable with like social media that we actually start canceling people for the right reasons.
Or not even canceling anybody at all. Just can't.
No. I don't mean like cancel in the sense of like, oh, they never like. You could be like, hey, yeah, you can't run for governor because you murdered someone and got off of it. You know, like just literally like being blatant, like,
Yeah.
cool, have fun, but you're not gonna win
Dude's
because
first day in
Yeah.
office, she's like, I'm pardoning myself
yeah,
from running over that
So
guy.
God,
Also,
it's
I'm
so
making it
bad.
legal to run over people.
yeah. Dude.
Because I have no idea. I can't control myself.
Can you pardon yourself as governor? No.
Well, the good thing is if you know she's pretty rich as it is. I think
That's also a problem too.
Probably.
We need to stop having rich people.
Is she
in
rich?
office.
What is she rich from?
Yeah.
Keeping Up
well,
with the
obviously the
Kardashians?
show, yeah.
Well, the show,
Yeah.
and then was an Olympic athlete.
Did you know?
Yeah, but how much money do you make from that?
Well, you make
Not
well,
much.
back then, being an Olympic athlete was bigger than being an Olympic athlete now, in the sense of like if you won gold or anything like that,
You'd get
you'd
deals.
get Wheaties, you'd get all this other
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah.
Now you can obviously get more deals, but I'm saying like the fame you got as an Olympic athlete from
Fair.
like
yeah.
the 80s and stuff compared to the fame now is different.
Hmm.
And then he met Kris
Jenner.
Yeah.
and
Do you know who gets a piece of that show? Is Ryan Seacrest.
Yes, he's producer, right?
Yeah.
He's
yeah,
a
he
producer
made
of,
them
like,
Discover Them?
essentially.
He's
Yeah.
the one who put their show together, right?
And now he gets a piece of all of the action.
I can't
It's
believe
kinda
that
nice,
show's
right?
still going.
And he's
dude.
doing American Idol, and he's that radio. I can't remember the radio station that he does during the
Yeah.
day. That
Mhm.
guy is busy.
bro.
He
must
must be fucking loaded.
Yes.
Oh, dude, he
Yes.
has to be one of the richest people in Hollywood. For
Gotta
sure.
be, right?
For sure.
I think the Kardashians ended or is ending.
Yeah.
Oh, it is.
But I
Yeah.
think they're
Finally,
just
dude.
ending it so they can go somewhere else.
Finally.
Yeah, I think they're trying to like get out of the deal of like keeping
Oh.
up with the Kardashians so they could go to like fucking, I don't know.
Probably like some
Comedy
streaming
Central.
service.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I mean,
Dude.
they all
Discovery
have,
Plus.
They all have businesses now.
They're just gonna have
so-
OnlyFans. It's
They
gonna
don't
be
need to
OnlyFans
do
of
it
their
anymore.
show.
I don't.
Yeah.
They don't.
Let somebody else become famous from that
Do
kind of
they
stuff.
actually
don't.
like it? Do they like doing that?
Oh, I'm sure they don't. I'm sure it's ruined a lot of their relationships. I'm sure it's done extensive damage to the youngest. Those
Dude, they
whatever their
are
names
fucking
Kylie.
billionaires
Yeah.
now because
Yeah.
of that show.
But
that show has done nothing
s-
but good things to them.
No, but I'm talking like mentally.
Yeah, mentally,
Yeah.
I'm sure they're kind
Like,
of fucked up.
Yeah, they have like no worries financially, but like when you get to a certain point of being so rich,
and famous.
you just get so disconnected from the world. That's why like I have a huge problem with rich people running for office and all these other things because like how are you going to vote to take care of people who are
They're
poor
most of the country.
when you have no idea what
about-
it's like to be poor?
What about Oprah? She's
Or just
super
middle
loaded,
class.
but she's like the success story of becoming like poor or being poorer than poor itself,
Mhm.
and then becoming like a billionaire.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
but the thing is, like, how old is
Those
Oprah?
are outliers though.
60s.
what?
How old is Oprah?
She's in her 60s
Oprah?
now.
Is she in her
60s?
60s?
I think so.
Yeah.
But again, that's an outlier. That's like The Rock.
Yeah,
People
but-
have been talking about her becoming like president and stuff.
I wouldn't want
Yeah,
that.
but also, like, I get her story, but that was so long ago at this point.
So you're
Yeah.
saying
Things have
that
changed.
she doesn't know she
No.
still has that perspective, no, of being like what it's like to be poor.
Sure,
You never
maybe.
forget that.
Yeah, you'd think that, but there's a lot of people who do.
Yeah.
There's always outliers. So
Yeah.
like people like Matthew McConaughey or The Rock or like people who actually do things for their community, things like that. Like they understand or they remember actually what it's like to be poor.
Yeah.
And a lot of people, like a lot of times you'll hear people talk about like their story and they'll always like, say like, oh, I only had like this much. And I feel like that's like a good thing to say because it helps remind them to where they remember. But when you get people who are like the Kardashians, I'm sure at some point Kris Jenner was really, really broke, but I don't think she remembers it.
We just need somebody to root for.
Yeah.
Like the only good reason why The Rock could be president is like I think most people could root for The Rock.
And I
he's
also
super
feel like he would,
charismatic.
Yeah, like
I feel like he would actually be smart and like get good people to take care of things.
I don't know.
That's
but,
the thing. It's all
like-
it's all about the administration
Yeah, it's like
that
who
someone
you
pulls
pick.
in.
Yes.
Yeah.
But the guy, I'm sure he would try to surround himself with good people. But the thing is about that is,
Just
like,
him and
why
Mark
would he
Wahlberg.
want to? Like, he's got everything he needs now.
Oh yeah, no, I
You
don't.
know?
If people who
Why
run
did-
for president are crazy.
Yeah.
in my opinion,
Narcissists.
so.
Why did
Yeah.
Biden
Yeah.
do it?
He's a narcissist.
Yeah, he's been in politics forever.
That's
he's
why
also
he
done
got-
some
yeah.
terrible stuff. It's the same thing with
Yeah, but
Kamala
he's
Harris.
he's
Like,
in
I
his
can't stand
late
her.
80s, right?
Yeah,
And same with,
exactly.
like,
The
Nancy
only
Pelosi.
the
It's
only
like,
valid
dude,
reason
go
you
live
can
your
come
life.
up
Dude,
with
they need
is
to
because
like,
they're
there needs
they
to be
love the power.
an age limit.
Yeah.
There need to be an age limit and term limits set in place
Yeah,
for this
totally.
because like you also can't be 80 years old thinking, oh, when you have a median age of like what is it, like 35 or 40? What's the median age for America?
Yeah, I think it's like 45.
Yeah, you can't be almost twice that age making laws for them. You don't have
Yeah,
the
he's-
same mindset.
yeah.
Yeah.
It-
Like someone like Biden, that was his career, was
Well,
in
he
Career
also-
politics.
Yeah, and he also did some really sketchy stuff, especially with prisons. And stuff like
Everybody
that, so-
who's been president thus far in my lifetime has done some sketchy
very
shit.
sketchy
dude, it
stuff.
sucks. It fucking sucks, man.
You know, like there's nobody that I can think of that
it does suck.
Like I could be like, oh, that guy's scot free, nothing wrong with that guy.
Maybe Jimmy Carter.
Jimmy Carter. I know very little about the guy.
No, he was like the first president to put solar panels on his roof of the White House.
Yeah.
He was like, hey, we're gonna do this to like help with climate change.
I
things
bet
like
you
that,
there's some
so.
shit we could dig up on Jimmy.
Probably.
Yeah.
Maybe he's a child molester.
You just don't get that far without shaking a couple dirty hands.
Yeah.
Just saying, you don't.
Yeah.
Like in these days,
Yeah.
our
Well,
government's
especially
so
now.
corrupt.
Oh, dude, it's so
it's
bad.
it's baked into like the infrastructure nowadays that you can't. It's literally impossible. You have to be like some crazy person like Donald Trump to come in and be like,
But
no,
even
fuck
he
it all.
has his
I'm
own
gonna-
skeletons, dude.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
That's the thing. Like, I don't know. I saw something a while back that was talking about, like, the Republican Party
Mhm.
during that election, and it was like, who were you competing with? Like Ben Carson,
Yeah.
He's
probably
a wet
super
paper towel.
super smart guy,
He's
but
a wet paper
fucking
towel.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's like you just listen to that guy and you're like
Bro.
falling asleep, you know.
Yeah.
But he probably would have been better than Trump, to be honest. But then,
I don't know, dude. He has some wild ideas.
maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then I mean, there were a couple other guys, but it was kind of the same thing.
Yeah.
Like there
He
weren't.
ran against Ted Cruz, dude.
Yeah, yeah.
That guy-
Teddy.
Have you ever
Ted
seen-
Cruz
Slimy.
came out recently, was like, I'm done with the woke corporations, so I'm currently not accepting any more money from woke corporations. And all I could think of was like, what corporations
So,
that are
like,
woke
Nike?
are giving you money?
because he doesn't have
It's
any.
probably like $10 and it's like nothing. He's like, yeah.
He gets all his money from what, like oil
Super
companies,
bad.
Yeah.
Oil companies.
Yeah, oil companies, gas companies.
which they're not woke, so
No,
he's all good.
No,
I don't
not
give a
really.
Shit.
I'm sure there's some nuance, but so so you're officially on break from schooling.
Yes.
How's that going?
Break is nice.
Yeah. How long is the break until you go back?
So we went on break. What is it? April 24th,
Yeah.
and then we go back May 13th.
Okay, so less than a couple weeks, and
Like
then
2.5
you're
weeks.
back in the gist of it.
Yeah.
And,
And you're in your third trimester.
we found out that it's called trimesters for some reason.
Yeah, my school just calls them trimesters.
Yeah, we were poking fun of you
Yeah,
earlier for
Because
that.
it's 3 semesters.
Yeah, it's 3 semesters a year,
year.
so they just call them try. And then when you go to like life, I know they call them quarters because they do 4 semesters per year.
Miles, look up what semester is technically defined as.
Yeah,
So we can just put this to bed completely.
Yeah.
Because AJ is just fed up with this bullshit.
It's a half-year term in a school or college, typically lasting 15 to 18 weeks.
Okay, well then it's justified then, because you can't say that those are semesters then.
How many semesters are in a year? There are generally 2 semesters per academic year.
So
Fall
they call it a trimester because we do 3 of them.
and spring. And
It
then
just
summer.
sounds weird because
Because you refer
that
to babies.
is the nomenclature of like pregnancy
Yeah.
terms. Yeah.
No, I understand. That's why I just say semester for you guys because whatever is less confusing.
Well,
yeah,
we appreciate you.
Yeah.
Dumbing it down for all of us normies.
yeah.
Trimesters
I
a
have to dumb it
period
down
of
for
3
myself.
months.
So
So what are you getting ready to get yourself into in this next trimester?
so it'll be try 5.
Mm.
So
How many tries are there?
10 total.
10.
So
Wow.
after
So
I
you're
Finish this one, I'll be
halfway
halfway.
done, baby.
But after I get done with this trimester and trimester 6, try 7, 8, and 9, and 10. I'm pretty much just like 1 foot out the door the entire time.
Yeah.
Trimester 7 is when I will start adjusting people in the student clinic.
Yes.
So patients will come in.
So what they call clinics. Like
clinic rotation.
I think Sarah had to do that for optometry, right?
Yeah.
Start
Yeah.
working in the
Just
field, getting used
people
to it.
come in, the school has a clinic, and then
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. And that's what
Yeah.
I'll handle. I'll adjust like my fellow students who I know, who I'm like, oh, I need people to come in because I need patient numbers. So come in and see me. And then the school equally divides up outside patients who come in because it's only $10 to get adjusted at my school, insurance or not.
Yeah. Wow.
Dang.
That makes
And
it
that
sound
also-
sketchy. Just
People-
saying.
If you're not paying at least $1,000 for your
Yeah,
medical
I
care,
don't know.
You also get like a full X-ray and everything like that too
for $10?
for $10.
can I just get
Fuck.
the X-ray?
What?
Can I
You
just get the X-ray?
Yeah.
Send it to my doctor.
Yeah.
Here, this would have cost me $10,000.
Yeah, dude, you charged me $60. I got a back massage and an X-ray for $10 at the chiropractic.
Yeah. But Yeah, man. But I'm ready to be done. I'm so beaten down.
Well, you're halfway done, so maybe after this one you give yourself not a vacation is like the lack of a better word, but something with a beach.
Well, we'll see in
Cold
August.
Corona
I
in your
have to
hand.
take the first part of boards. So August 24th, I take part 1.
2021.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
How many parts do you have?
4.
Mm-hmm.
So the first part is all of the science courses. So you have spinal anatomy, general anatomy, physio, pathology, microbiology, and biochemistry. And then the second part of boards is more chiropractic philosophy based, and like history, and then also patient specific interactions. So like patient comes in, they have these levels, these markers. What are you going to do for this patient? Things like that.
Yeah. It's a lot what Sarah did with her boards.
Probably.
She had 3 or 4 parts as well.
Yeah.
And it was similar. It was like the first was like just basically a test of like the science and medical stuff. And then it was, what do you do when the patient comes in? How to solve this? And then it was either the third or fourth where it was like clinical. So she was in the clinic giving exams and they see how she does the exams.
The third one is like a clinical based one. And then the fourth one is like, this is your patient. What do you do?
Yeah.
And my chiropractor, she said that she went in and they showed her an x-ray, and the x-ray was just like they had cancer all throughout their spine. And the guy was basically like, okay, so like, what do you see on the x-ray? And she's like, well, I see a bunch of tumors. And he's like, okay, well, what are you going to do for this patient? And she's like, nothing. And he's like, okay, cool. See you later. She was in there for 5 minutes. And other people are in there for...
It's a trick question. You don't do anything.
Yeah.
You send them to an oncologist.
Yeah. Yeah. So she was in there for 5 minutes, and some people are in there for like 45 minutes. It just depends on the patient case you give. And
is it like a dissertation? Not like a dissertation, but
no, you basically
like
you go into a room and you have your patient file, and you'll have like a doctor there attending wise.
Yeah.
And then you have a bunch of other people just watching you while you're attending to this fake patient.
Yeah. So kind of like when you're defending your dissertation,
body of work.
Right?
Yeah, because they'll ask you,
like
they'll probe you at the end. They'll be like, why did you do that?
Yeah.
Or what are you doing this for? Like stuff like that. So,
It sounds more like a paneled
yeah,
quiz type thing.
Right.
Test. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's good because then they can judge if you actually should be seeing patients or not.
Oh,
versus
dude,
just
there's
if
already
you can
people
take
in
a
my
test.
class where I'm like, I don't. Why?
Do you think that you're a bigger dude, like taller, and you were into sports and stuff, so you can definitely handle the average Joe or Jill. Do you have any like, I guess, students, co-peers that you're like, you're so nimble and no way you're handling anybody.
So everybody that I know who I'm friends with who are smaller, they become like really good at adjusting people because they've like practiced at it. Technique wise. Because it's all just technique. Even though I'm bigger, like it's all technique. Like you need your setup to be the same for every patient. And if you do the setup the same, then you can get the same results. Like the whole thing is you want setup, lockout, results. Like that's the whole
process
of like how I look at it. So no matter what your size is, like if you need to bring the thunder, you can bring the thunder because
what does that mean?
I know.
So like, let's say you put someone in side posture.
Okay.
So like they have an SI or like a low back pain or hip pain, right?
Yeah.
You put someone in side posture, which is like a classic thing people have seen where people's arms will be crossed like this. They're laying on their side. One leg's hiked up all the way to like their chest, and then the other one is fully stretched out. And then someone will put their hand on their low back or on their SI near their hip. And they will have here, and then they'll do a body drop. Okay? So a body drop, when we say like, oh, you have a bigger person, you're going to need to bring the thunder, is in the sense of like how much weight you'll put through the body drop. So the bigger the person, the more you can do. Or, the person who's locked up more, the more you can do. But there's also another technique that you do, especially if you're smaller, and you can do a kick drop, which is you'll take your knee and you'll put it into where their knee is folded and bent.
When you're saying smaller, is that the chiropractor?
The doctor.
The doctor,
Yeah,
okay.
the chiropractor would be
Right.
smaller. What you'll do, and this also is good for people who have shoulder problems and they still adjust, is you'll roll them over and you'll have your leg, your knee in the crevice of their folded knee, and you'll just kick your leg down while guiding the vertebrae with your hand.
Mm-hmm.
And it'll give the same release.
Dude, if I'm on the table and you're telling me I'm about to do a kick drop on you,
Oh, you
I'm
don't
like,
say
no,
it.
you don't do that.
Yeah,
Nah,
here's
you
AJ. He's like,
Yeah, no,
I'm about to bring
as
the
a doctor,
thunder.
you don't tell them. You don't say to them
Yeah.
unless the
Here comes the
patient asks
thunder.
you. Yeah,
I'm
unless
gonna
the
suplex
patient,
you now. Can you just hang out for a
Yeah.
second?
unless the patient asks you like, "Hey, what are you doing?" Like,
Bringing
just
the thunder?
Yeah, just
Yeah.
don't say it. And
Yeah.
obviously, in a patient setting, you're not going to be like, "I'm about to bring the
I'm
thunder."
just saying it.
Like,
I'm about yeah.
you know.
Wait, can we do it on the table right here? We'll bring the thunder.
Yeah.
Yeah, bring on the
Yeah.
thunder.
No, this is a little too.
All I'm
hot,
saying
but-
is maybe some rebranding is due.
Yeah,
overdue
I mean,
for some
again,
of
that's
the
just what we say
names.
in
Yeah,
school
yeah.
among fellow
Yo, I was kick dropping
practitioners.
this lady the other day.
Yeah.
Sounds good though.
Or like, how about is it about to crack a lack?
We don't
Yeah.
say that.
Huh?
No,
Yeah.
that's not cool enough. That's like 80s.
So,
So you
sound-
messed up.
It sounds better than bringing the thunder though.
Yeah.
Like I feel like bringing the thunder, I'm about to die. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thunderstruck in the background starts playing.
Yeah.
Like, what is happening?
I should do that.
Disco
It'd be a
like
lot of
pops
fun.
down.
Yeah.
Are you ready?
But yeah, I mean, if we're being honest, if we want to just talk about so like what a chiropractor does is I take joints that have like a fixation or a restriction, and I accurately place my hands in a correct position and apply correct force and corrective movement, and I just allow that to move again. And then within doing that, that allows your body to have the correct alignment, your correct alignment, which is then just going to allow you to have a longer pain-free existence. Because all I care about in the long run is your life's quality.
Yeah.
I don't care about how long you live. I just want, while you're living, I want you to be able to enjoy it as much as possible. And if you can bring me like $35 every time you need to come see me and I make you feel better,
Yeah.
then it's worth it. You know?
When you started saying that, it kind of just sounded like we got it once you said the
Yeah,
whole
yeah,
thing,
yeah.
but it kind of sounded like if you could just bring me like
Yeah.
$99,
I will-
that would be
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah. We can do
need
easy
money.
installments.
So yeah, that's the ultimate question is like, would you trade? Say you had two options. Option A is you live to be 90, but 70 of those years you're in terrible health.
Yeah.
And
Or
you're
not even that, like-
somewhat miserable most of the time. Or option B, you live 2 more years, but it's the happiest years you've ever lived. What would you choose?
Yeah, well, no. So like that's the whole thing. It's like, okay, you're 65 now, and now your body's starting to break down. But just because of how we're evolving, we're going to live longer, just period. So now your parents died, or, your grandparents died at, 67. So they felt like shit and it wasn't a big deal. But you're 65 and you have a high possibility to make it to 90. But now your musculoskeletal problems are just failing you. So what are you going to do? You know what I mean? You're now going to have to spend, 25 years in just terrible condition, even though you spent 60 in great health overall. I mean, great is relative, of course. But
Yeah.
so like if you just work out on just an average pace, like 3 times a week, and you just lift heavy a couple times, and you just are active, and you don't just constantly sit on a couch and constantly eat processed food and all this garbage that we have to offer now. If you just do those things, your quality of life is going to be better. Because again, like at a certain point, most people are going to be like, I don't want to live anymore. Like I've seen it all. None of my friends are around anymore. I don't know what's going on half the time because my brain is falling apart. You know what I mean? So you just want to do, your whole goal should be, I want to do whatever I can to wipe my ass as long as I possibly can. Like wipe my own ass as long as I possibly can.
Is there anything that chiropractors should be wary of about getting sued? Like, what kind of protection do you have if you get a patient, say,
you have
she's
the
having
same
some issues and then
liability insurance.
Yeah, you have the same
Liability
malpractice insurance that
Yeah.
Sarah has.
Mm.
So
I'm
everyone
wondering-
has to pay for that, or whatever company you work for will pay for it,
Right.
and
Is-
it'll come out of your check and things like that. But
Is there anything that you can't say to a patient that a medical doctor would be able to say?
yeah, like I can't say stop taking your medicine.
Well, yeah.
Okay.
I meant like more like advice. You said, well, because you were saying, oh yeah, if you don't eat processed foods and you exercise, blah blah blah.
Like for liability
like
reasons,
that,
are there
yeah.
things that you
Are
shouldn't
you-
say?
Just like if you went to a doctor and the
Advice.
doctor was like, "Hey, stop." That doctor has had as much nutrition courses that I've had, if not less.
Yeah.
So if he can tell you to stop eating processed food, I also can.
Okay.
And then plus, once I leave school, I'm still thinking heavily about getting my master's in nutrition because nutrition is a huge thing, especially with kids who have ADHD or dyslexia. So I want to be able to help them the most and also help addicts, recovering addicts, and nutrition's important for that as well. So
What kind of nutrition education are you receiving thus far? And do you think it's enough?
yeah, I just finished the only nutrition class, like the only dedicated nutrition class because like when you take biochem, all of that is talking about like nutrition. So like the Bohr effect, like all that stuff, like that all comes down to you have to do this in order to get those results. These are what you need to eat, like nutrient wise and things like that.
Yeah, the reason I ask is because it's like it's a well-known, I guess, rumor that, and maybe rumor is the wrong way to say it, but that doctors don't receive enough nutrition training when they go through like basic medical school.
No.
And that's something that like is becoming more of a desired, I guess, subject in the medical field for doctors to understand more about.
Yeah, because patients are probably always asking, what's this?
Yeah.
We're being more woke about how nutrition or what you eat, what you do.
eat and how it affects your overall health.
So if a
and
doctor
life.
can't tell you,
Yeah.
or can't recommend anything, then
Well, there's so many misconceptions too in the world of nutrition that I don't, and with all the majority of the doctors out there have already gone through medical school.
Oh yeah.
And you knowing them having only like the bare minimum education on it, you're kind of wondering like, what do they know? If they're giving me advice, is it good advice? Maybe looking for somebody who concentrated in that and is a little. Because, like, nutrition nowadays, there's so much that we know more. Like, the whole, like, fats versus sugars argument.
yeah, there's a lot of things.
And stuff like that.
And I think that's the point is there's probably hasn't been enough research done outside of companies lobbying for certain types of research where they've taught it in medicine or in other types of, like, chiropractic or optometry or whatever, where doctors haven't normally learn those things. So they were learning more about, you have a problem. I don't know how that's connected to nutrition, but I can help you solve the problem. Versus now we're seeing more research that's saying this could be a cause for that, or things have changed.
Well,
Like
that's the thing is like, I struggle with like higher levels of cholesterol, and I've heard some new data saying like this, like actually, can help lower cholesterol. But what my doctor told me, which is like the well-known thing, which is like stop eating fatty foods or stop doing this or do this and that. I'm sure some of that can ultimately help, but there's probably some other things that he should be telling me that he's not telling me because he probably just doesn't know enough about the new information.
I'm happy you brought up cholesterol because the problem with nutrition, especially in America, is like everything, it's all money based.
Yeah.
Okay. So this idea that like, you need to drink milk to get strong bones. Well, it's been proven that if you drink cow's milk, especially ones that have been pasteurized and full of all the hormones and everything that they put in it, it actually decreases your bone density and is negatively impacting on your bone. Okay. So cool. Everything I was told my entire life, drink milk. That's why you don't see those things anymore. Where it's, you had Carmelo Anthony and all these athletes.
The got milk campaigns.
You don't see those anymore because they've been proven incorrect.
My mom lied to me.
Yeah.
But we drank skim milk the entire fucking time, and
it's like
that's
drinking water.
known to be like the worst type of milk you can drink.
The most
milk water, as we called it.
The most important thing that needs to be looked at from nutrition is that, one, it's an aggressively complex issue because it is always a person by person based thing.
Mm-hmm.
What we know for nutrition is, number one, the food pyramid that we see now is absolute crap, and it was all designed just to sell more processed foods.
Yeah.
Right? Your main things that are at the top of your food pyramid that you need to eat the most of are dark leafy greens, healthy, sustained, or, just healthily or safely processed meat, whether it's chicken, fish, beef, anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
Same thing with the eggs. And then fruits, like under there, right? Everything else that is processed in any way, shape, or form, crackers, chips, milk.
The good stuff.
Yeah, the good stuff. That needs to be avoided like it's the plague. When they say stop eating fatty foods, when your doctor tells you that, he leaves out the most important word, which is stop eating fatty processed foods.
Yeah.
It's not, you could eat avocado, half avocado every day, and it won't affect your cholesterol levels at all. It'll help you. And also, cholesterol is not a problem like they thought it was.
Right.
It does not immediately, just because you have high LDL or high HDL or low or whatever, that's not precursors for heart attacks. Precursors for heart attacks are your overall diet and processed food intake, because that's how you get plaque buildup in your body, because your body doesn't know what to do with the excess.
And I heard
process.
Inflammation accompanies that with those types of foods.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. Fried that's what Michael does all of his research on, right?
Yeah, we're trying to get him on the podcast.
Yeah, he's going to be the best person to talk when it comes to...
Shout out to Michael.
Yeah.
Everyone keeps asking for him.
Yeah.
Also, I should say none of us are doctors yet.
No.
So don't take our medical advice here.
Yeah, but
he has he just took a course on this. So
yeah, no.
We're gonna
when it comes to cholesterol, when it comes to fat, when it comes to salt, when it comes to sugar, you need to avoid these in high levels that are processed. That is what it is. That's what's destroying the average American diet. That's the problem, is everyone eats too much bread. Everyone eats too much carbs. And what you need to try to focus on
is Taco Bell.
Yeah. For most people, right? This is excluding people who have Crohn's, celiac disease, all this other stuff, whatever you have, because again, everybody's different. But you should try to focus to have one high-fat, low-carb meal a day, and then one carb, like moderate meal per day. Because the reason you see weight gain in people who've had the same diet for years is because as you age, your body gets less and less efficient at breaking down carbs, and will just continually store it more into sugar, because your body eventually is like, okay, you're always giving me this excess of carbs. You must be trying to build up for something.
Yeah, your insulin levels get all wacky.
Well, yeah, so insulin resistance is also another huge precursor to heart disease, as well as obviously diabetes. But so what you want to do is the more fat heavy meals, or the more meals that fat is a focus, if your body gets good at burning fat, because it'll always be good at burning fat, because that's just something that your body is designed to do. That's what it wants to do. If you allow yourself to do that, even if you do still eat a carb heavy meal, your body's able to digest it, because it's not going to store it, because it's a different fuel source.
Yeah.
It can run off of two. And that's what you want. You want metabolic flexibility as much as possible. That way you can stay in a healthy weight, and you don't have to kill yourself at the gym and like all these other things.
Yeah.
Interesting. When we went to Thailand a couple years ago, we met this guy from the UK who had moved there. And he had been there, 10 years or something. He married some Thai woman there who had a son. And during that time period when he was there, McDonald's and some of the other fast food chains had started moving into Thailand.
Yeah.
And he said that he's noticed, like, his wife's son has gotten fat.
Mm-hmm.
And he's noticed a lot of other Thai boys who have gotten started getting larger after they started eating these foods.
Oh, they're going like McDonald's all the time now.
Mm.
Oh yeah, because it's convenience, it's cheap,
Right.
and
Mm-hmm.
like if you're poor and you need to feed your whole family, like
Oh, it's the perfect place to go.
exactly. But that's the problem.
In the
is,
sense
like,
of it'll save
Versus-
you some money and convenience.
Versus
Yeah.
what they were eating before, which was stuff from the farm
Yeah.
home cooked,
that they would cook at home.
whole food, meals, non-processed bullshit.
The sad part
Yeah.
of that is probably cheaper to go to McDonald's than it is to harvest your own shit and go through the labor it takes to do all that, right?
Yeah.
So it's like,
Especially if they live in the city or something.
and if people aren't who are in that socioeconomic status like group
Yeah.
don't understand the things that about diet and whole foods and processed
Well,
foods, then they're
Definitely. I mean,
that's-
we're woke here because we've had fast food for so long. But all these other countries.
Where I grew up on McDonald's.
Yeah,
Like
no, I
that
did
was
too.
like a Wednesday night for me.
Yeah.
Coming
Wednesday
home.
night, $69 or 69-cent burgers.
Yeah.
Now they're $1.20, but yeah.
Yeah.
No, but there's another barrier when it comes to talking about food or processed food, fast food, things like that. It is all disproportionately targeted towards poor people specifically, but because it's for poor people, people of color get it at a disproportionate rate.
Yeah.
Right.
Because poor white people eat the same crappy processed foods that poor black people will. But then you have all these things like food deserts, right? So, and for anybody who doesn't know what a food desert is, it's you live in an area where you don't have access to
Agriculture.
or healthy whole foods. So apples, healthy places to get meat, things like that. You rely on a convenience store that's down the street that only sells chips and microwavable foods.
Yeah. So there's
Nothing
not
that-
enough viable options or more so healthy options for them to choose. And on top of that, the healthy options are double, triple, quadruple the amount that you would be spending on the cheaper,
Or the
less
education.
healthy.
Because chips are tastier than an apple.
Yeah.
And a lot of people just don't know that it's actually not as healthy to eat or it's healthier to eat an apple than it is chips. They just think that it's just food.
Yeah. I'm going to burn it off.
There's a
either
lot
way.
of people like that.
Yeah. No, but again, and that comes back to like, well, then, why are they trying to do that? And it's like, well, the whole system that we have here in America, unfortunately, especially in this like weird wannabe capitalistic type of idea, is that everything's set up for if you're poor, you're going to stay poor. And not only are you going to stay poor, but you're going to stay sick and you're going to stay aggressively unhealthy.
Yeah, it's definitely, the system isn't built to prop up those people.
Yeah.
And launch them into success, unfortunately.
I think
that's everywhere, right?
Yeah, I think it's kind of everywhere.
Mhm.
You're starting
a
to really
global
see
thing.
that. Yeah, it's a lot of like our country is just immigrants, and that's all around the world too. Like it's not just us that have immigrants that come to the country,
Especially now.
and it takes
Yeah.
generations for
Mhm.
those people to move up higher in class. Like in Europe right now, they have tons of Syrians.
Yeah.
Before that, it was
Yeah.
Turkish people. It's happening all over.
But America is the shining example for the world to see
right.
of
Yeah.
what works and what doesn't.
Mm-hmm.
So
And we've only been around for a couple hundred years, and you can change things and make them better.
Yeah, you can't. I
So,
mean, if you,
That's what we do.
yeah, I mean, I hope, and eventually, I hope eventually we get to a point to where we do start pushing the envelope and pushing in like a more correct direction, in the sense of like people just understand that it's not a problem to make sure people aren't starving. And it's not like a handout to make sure people eat every day. Or it's not a handout to make sure people have somewhere to sleep that's safe every day. People get stuck into this like weird mindset, and it happens, on both sides, I guess, politically, to where like everyone thinks, if you do anything to help someone, they're just going to never change.
Yeah.
Or if you don't expect them, like, or if you don't help them, then you're just like the scum of the earth type of deal. Or if you don't want to help them, then you're the scum of the earth. And you just get kind of caught in this in between where it's like, no, people like need help, but obviously you don't want them to take advantage of the system. But then again, if you just look at the stats for the system, the people who abuse it, it's still such a small, disproportionate percent. Most people who go on like food stamps or welfare do everything in their power to get off. I remember when my mom went on food stamps, she was so upset that she was on there. Yeah. She did everything she possibly could to make sure she was off in 6 months. And that's going to be most people's.
Yeah. I think it's all about the policy of it. Yeah. Because we see great examples of welfare that has been abused, like unemployment insurance.
It's quite literally doing the opposite. It's not helping people, it's enabling people.
Yeah. But then we have some programs that are great that the fraud is very low. Yeah. But it's all about the policy of like, how can we stop that from happening? How do we design something that will actually help people and push them to want to do better?
Well, the problem isn't the intent or any of like it's how we managing this at scale, because these programs work really well in smaller scale I guess like scenarios where like there's better oversight because there's less people to have to like manage. But when you do this with 330 million people, it's almost there's going to be people taking advantage of it. There's going to be people that's enabling the bad behavior. There's going to be people that's enabling good behavior. Welfare is meant and designed theoretically to enable good behavior, right? You have to show that you're looking for a job, so you can make money to provide for your family, to buy food and shelter.
But the main problem with that is like you have those like soft shelf or hard shelf fall offs when you do something like that. So you'll have somebody who's on welfare and they have a job, but they're on food stamps. Now, if they chose to get a second job, they lose their food stamps, but the disparity in the loss of food stamps versus the gain of this second job, it doesn't equal.
Right.
So what is this person supposed to do now? You're a grandma. You have to take care of your daughter's children or your son's children because they're not in the picture, which happens a lot. Or you're just the parent and you have to take care of your 3 kids. So now you have to get a second job. You're already not running these kids' lives enough. You want to get a second job, so then you're not on food stamps, but you don't get any benefit from getting the second job. So you have to deal with those things too. And obviously it's not an easily solved issue such as like raising minimum wage and like all these other things. Like there's other things that need to go into it, such as like actual restriction government wise, like doing its actual job at stopping companies from being able to abuse their ability, like the whole lumber surplus charge. Right, we were talking about that in the car, and it's pretty much seeming like the lumber companies are just choosing to do this.
Yes,
right.
That's my understanding. Is they're artificially
a government source. If they weren't if politicians weren't so involved in lumber, right? If they weren't allowed to be, they would be like, "Hey, you can't do that anymore." Yeah. But these motherfuckers are involved in it. They're like, "Yeah, raise the price, no big deal."
Whatever. Yeah, because you know what else they can do? Institutions who invest in lumber can then have like they can actually own lumber companies, right? Like the majority of lumber companies, or have some political tie through it, and then make money that way too. Like I think Goldman Sachs had it was like nickel or aluminum. I think it was aluminum that they did that too. It's one of the big examples.
George W. Bush owned some lumber company, I think, or something with wood. It had something to do with wood, and it was funny. I remember. When he was running for president against John Kerry. Remember that?
Yes, during the debate.
And he was like, yeah, you did this with some lumber. And he's like, oh, I don't have a lumber. And he made a joke, you want some wood? And like everybody laughed. And then it came out that he was wrong. He didn't even know he owned him, but he like actually did. Or it was like, maybe it's something a little different than that, but...
it's because he probably doesn't run his business
No, dude, he just has his name on stuff. Yeah, it's the same. That's the same reason Dick Cheney was able to do what he did. So, like, if you saw that movie Cheney, where Christian Bale played Dick
Vice.
Cheney, Vice. That is probably the standard for how the government is so deeply corrupt, to where he took a moment of crisis and literally built an empire off of its ashes.
Yeah, you can't let a
And
good
then
crisis
said
go
it's
to waste.
okay. Said it's okay, I was doing the good for America. As you set them up to where they're now in the worst possible contracts to do things. Like when I talked to Josh, and Josh was like, yeah, one of the biggest problems in the military, in the Navy, like specifically, is if something breaks, we don't fix it. We just have to buy a brand new thing. So if you get a printer that's 10 grand and it breaks, you have to spend 10 grand instead of spending $100 to fix it.
Yeah.
Sweet.
It's kind of like Apple products, right?
Yeah.
Where you get like, they just pass like laws to where they have to allow people like third parties to be able to fix, or they allow
without
like their
losing-
products to be fixed secondhand and to avoid the whole.
Well, and they should. I mean,
wastefulness.
Apple, again, it's like, that's another thing too. Like, that's what the government's supposed to do. Apple does a good job in the sense of like, if I had information, they're not just going to give it immediately to the government. And I appreciate that. That's like what you should do as a company. But then also on the flip side, if you're doing shitty stuff as a company, the government is supposed to be like, hey, no, you can't do that. That's like your only job as a government official. Like, as a government,
Protect the people.
you are here to just make sure they don't get screwed over by corporations.
Yeah.
But now you are the corporations, so you're just going to constantly screw people over.
That's the thing is like, what we were talking. What were you saying just before that with Apple? Oh, the wastefulness.
Yeah.
Like government, it's no secret that the government is like mostly just waste.
Yeah.
Like
It's wasting people's salaries.
I think most people who've worked in government, at least at a higher level, can tell you that.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, you
Waste.
worked for the government, right, as a contractor, right?
Yeah, I did for a period of time.
Yeah. And so, like, what was that experience like? Is there anything noteworthy to talk about
of
here?
waste.
What?
I mean, the program I worked
He
on,
has an
probably.
NDA. He can't say anything about now.
Oh, you can't? Oh,
No,
okay.
you can't.
No. I mean, a prime example that a lot of people like to bring up for government contractors is Lockheed Martin. Was paid by the end of the actual production or creation of the jet. It was like the new stealth jet that they were building.
Yeah.
And it ended up costing the government $1 trillion just to like create the jet, not even for production.
Yeah,
Bro,
not for
and
production.
you could do
because
so
what it was,
much more with that.
what it was is it was like, okay, here's the initial contract, whatever it is. Let's say it was probably like $250 billion.
Yeah.
And then it was like, oh, but this happened, or we want to add this to it, or whatever. There's this slowdown in it, and it just dragged on and on and on.
Yeah.
And now you're $1 trillion in the hole. You still don't have a single fucking jet.
Yeah.
But it's the same thing. It's like I mean, the government tries to help with it, at least with government contracting. They're extremely strict about companies and like fighting against fraud. So like an entire company, huge government contractor, can lose their license to do business with the government if a certain amount of employees they found out that they were lying on their time cards or something, or didn't fill them out correctly or something. So they're extremely strict internally when you're filling things out. But the thing is, that's all good and fine.
Yeah, the oversight stops there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's like,
and those are all easily fudgeable.
right. As long as you're actually filling it out, you're making the right comments, things look right.
Yeah.
No one really actually knows.
Yeah.
Because what they'll do, for instance, is they'll say we need like 5 senior title of something, right? For this contract. And so the government will pay them. They'll pay for security clearances, whatever you got to have. And then the contractor will hire like 3 junior developers and do the work and then like 1 senior developer, and they'll do the work, and then they pocket the rest of the money.
Yeah. It's like it's similar. They talk about this in other podcasts too, with like taxpayer money to fight like homelessness or to fight all these other issues where
Black Lives Matter movement,
where like that money, the millions of dollars that's spent on that goes to companies and whoever the fuck knows what they're doing with the money, and like the oversight stops there. But waste.
That most recently happened with the BLM movement. Like, those ladies are now like, people are like, what are you doing? Because they're like having lavish vacations and buying cars for themselves, and with the money that people donated to help Black Lives Matter.
Or like kind of like what you were just saying. Recently I saw an article where like the government owns a certain amount of IP space on the internet for the military in case they need it for whatever, like whatever they need it for. But it's mostly dormant, like they don't use it.
Right.
And some watchdog agency noticed that they were starting to be used. So basically now you could communicate with them over the network. And so it was like, what the heck is happening? Well, they found out the company who was like basically opening those IPs to the rest of the internet. And like you couldn't get any information from them. It's like a kind of a secret company. And then eventually the Pentagon was like, yeah, they're, doing something simulation, whatever, to test this and that. Aliens. Who else knows?
Right? That's the thing is,
it's just some agency in the Pentagon is paying this company who knows what amount of money to do what.
I'm more for
the black budget. They call it, right? Where the money goes, and you're not allowed to know where it goes to.
Yeah, see, I'm more for telling everybody what the government is doing than not telling them. So like the NSA existing, and then also now Snowden, and then the other guy, who are basically can't come back to America, because they're considered traitors.
Yes,
and it's like, how are they considered traitors when you were doing the traitor shit? You know what I mean?
Spying on us.
No, but that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Like, I am more for like everybody knowing the secrets and everything like that, of what's gone on, what's transpired, instead of this weird guessing to where like, oh yeah, I think that happened, or oh, I think that happened.
Yeah, to an extent. I think there's a problem with that. Because if it's internal, if it's domestic, for sure we should know.
Oh, that's
we
what I
should
mean.
know that when we're buying, why we're being spied on, when we're being spied on. Anything outside of that,
no,
then
I'm sorry.
can't.
Yeah, I
that's
should
what
have
you
prefaced
meant.
that. Yeah, I meant like domestic things that have happened. You should know everything that's going on, what your government is trying to do to you or through you. You should know every aspect of that domestically.
Yeah.
Foreign is entirely different because there's so many other aspects that.
But then they can throw out the excuse of, oh well, if China knows that we're doing this or that we have
they
this,
already know.
Then they're the biggest rip-off artists globally.
Yeah, but they already know.
So then China will start spying on their citizens, you mean?
Yeah.
Oh wait.
Whatever you do, China's already gonna know, just like Russia's already gonna know, because they just hack into our shit all the time anyway.
Or they just have spies that have
Agents,
been here for generations.
Yeah, do they have
playing
sleeper
the long
cells and
game.
things like that? Obviously, those sleeper cells aren't gonna like destroy America, but they're here to tell you like what American life is like.
AJ, are you on a
what's going
sleeper
on.
cell?
Oh, absolutely.
Are you waiting to be activated?
Yep.
Like in
China, come get me, baby.
You guys saw that the Iran nuclear plant or whatever was like shut down or kind of destroyed, something with it. They can't get it back online for a while or something. A lot of people think that it was Israel and that Israel has like people in Iran's government. Like there are they will integrate people into different countries.
I'm sure, dude. Look,
like your friend Billy may be a spy from, well, probably his name's Billy. Well, that'd be a good name from Russia, you know?
Yeah.
I don't know.
In like 15 years,
Bruce.
we're gonna have to deal with that, but with cartel bosses' children.
Yeah, right.
So cartel bosses, like
Interesting.
children, are now here in America going to school here.
Yeah.
but
And-
everything's gonna be legal.
Yeah, well, they need
They'll
to
just
if you
find another
legalize
thing
it.
to
No,
make
if you immediately
black market.
legalize it, you will be able to hurt the cartel so much. And I honestly don't believe the government will do that, because I do think the government makes a lot of money off the cartel, because they're the reason, and it's been documented and proven, they're the reason crack came to America. They're the reason cocaine even got into America back in the 80s and 70s. And so now it's like, okay, we know you had something to do with that, and now you're still not doing anything to stop cartels.
Yeah, government intervention quite often, many times, creates a bigger monster.
Yeah.
Like
Like
ISIS.
the Middle East.
No,
Perfect example
that's
of
what I
government
mean.
intervention and creating a monster is ISIS.
Or just the Middle East in general.
Yeah.
Like all the conflict we've had there for the last 30 years.
Yeah, that. And then also, again, just cartels. Where do you think cartels get their weapons?
Yeah, America.
America. And who do you think gives it to them?
Me.
The government.
America. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They'll sell weapons that are like considered not
The
fit
Fast and
for
Furious
service and things like
thing.
that.
Yeah, they auction them off.
Yeah, no, they'll
Get 10 AKs for $50.
pretty fucking. That's what those. You ever see War Dogs?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's literally what happens.
Yeah.
Yeah,
right.
because the government probably has less oversight.
They have
because
no oversight.
it's
If War Dogs
contractors
is
who are doing all that
true
stuff.
in any shape or form, there's absolutely no oversight. Those dudes were flying by the seat of their pants.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'm sure there's
Gray,
a little bit of
gray
drama
area.
that
Oh,
was
yeah,
pushed
for
into
sure.
it, but
That's such a good movie, though.
Yeah, it's so good.
it is.
And also, Lord of War, I think is another one with
Yeah,
Nick
with
Cage.
Nick Cage,
Oh,
baby.
that's
Lord of
one of his
War.
better
Yeah,
movies,
that
in
one.
my opinion.
Yeah, that was like during his whole face-off time and stuff. Where
Yeah,
all of his
like
movies were
shortly
good.
after that, I think.
And then
It
like
was-
Gone in 60 Seconds. all
Dude,
that
I
stuff.
saw a meme. It was like a picture of Nick Cage, and it goes. The caption was, "Hey, look, John Travolta is wearing a mask in public." Finally,
I love the internet.
Yeah,
That's pretty funny.
yeah.
I don't think
Lord
I've
of-
seen this one.
Lord of War. It's when was
That was,
that
like,
made?
from
Ukrainian. Something about Ukraine.
Yeah.
But it was like
Mhm.
04, but he was basically like a weapons smuggler.
Yeah, weapons dealer. Yeah, pretty good movie. I forgot how it ends, but I won't spoil it. Yeah, I need to watch that one again. But yeah, War Dogs is it was a good one.
Yeah, it's
I
really
recently
good.
just watched that one.
Yeah.
It was good.
Yeah, but I
Could've
mean,
been
like, if
better.
any of that was true in like
Mhm.
any aspect, it just shows how much lack of
Yeah.
oversight
Mhm.
there is.
It was
Yeah.
just two dudes taking advantage of government contract work.
Mm-hmm.
And
And they would just lowball.
I think
all
it's
these offers.
I think it's a small piece of the pie what they were getting.
Yep.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
So
Yeah.
small.
You know, like-
yeah. Yep.
And then, and you know, I'm sure if you've heard on the Joe Rogan podcast, and then I've listened to like other podcasts when it comes to what's going on with cartels
Mhm.
down in like Tijuana and
Tijuana.
just Mexico in general, and just the lack of understanding like to the situation.
Mm-hmm.
Because like America is like, no, we're not going to get heavily involved unless they're like right here, but they're just constantly giving them weapons and supplies behind the back. And Mexico can't do anything. They don't have the firepower. Their police force is already corrupt by all of them.
Yeah.
And so, like, honestly, if you just legalize all the drugs, you can take a lot of power away from them.
Mm-hmm.
And we
Yeah.
just live in this stupid bubble of thinking, like, oh, if you can legally do whatever drugs, you're just going to go out there and constantly do it. And it's like, no, people could
Yeah.
constantly do drugs right now, and they still don't.
I've
So-
had this pretty good idea
Yeah.
for like kind of helping the problem.
Uh-huh.
So if you build like a 30-foot wall along the border of the
Wait, I've heard this one before.
And then you gotta just put trampolines everywhere.
yeah. So
So that way, even if they get over the top, they're gonna
hop
bounce
back
right
over
back.
it. Yeah, catapults.
Yep.
Yeah.
we gotta be fair to him because he never actually got to build the whole wall. So
Yeah.
how will we
How
ever
much
know
did
if
they
it would have
even
worked?
build? You guys
How much
know?
of it did they build?
Yeah.
I'm not really sure. I haven't been following that.
Yeah, I
but
haven't either.
I have seen photos of like the work sites. I don't know if they're
The
real
thing
or
is,
not.
whenever you see anything about it, it's so like politicized.
Yes.
You know, it's
Yeah.
like you can't really figure
Have a-
out how much wall they built.
Yeah, or
how
have
much
a
it costs.
conversation about it because as soon as you start asking questions, like, "Why you want the wall?" I'm like, "No, I was just trying to
Yeah.
find out what the fuck's going
Like,
on."
I don't know, man. Like, look, listen. Like, I would just when people ask me that question and they're like, "Oh, do you think like a wall will work?" I was like, "I don't think it'll work, but
Yeah.
like if it's there, like maybe it'll do something." I have no
The
clue.
walls that they have now, I don't know if they're technically
It's just a
they're
fence.
kind of fences. Yeah,
yeah. It's
I
just
mean
a big fence.
they don't work,
Yeah,
but
I think
I don't know.
I think we have a long ways to go with the all drug legalized thing.
Yeah, but I mean, there's also like there's just again, you're not again when we like have these discussions, we're not like focusing the blame on the proper people.
Yeah.
Which it's not these people who are being drug mules.
Yeah.
It's the cartels and it's our government.
yeah,
Mm.
If you didn't want those things to happen anymore, they could shut
Yeah.
that stuff down immediately. Once Trump came into office, they got rid of ISIS in a year.
Mm-hmm.
And ISIS wasn't a problem the entire time Obama was in office. But when Trump was like, hey, you have as much money as you possibly need, go take out ISIS, go finish it. They finished it in a year. They
Yeah.
could do the same in Mexico, but without actually fighting anybody. And you just legalize the drugs. They can no longer smuggle it. It no longer has buying power. It no longer has any meaning. But again, government probably doesn't want to do it because they make a lot of money off of the war on drugs to stop people from using
yeah.
them.
Gotta fill up the prisons somehow, man. I mean, that's the
Bro, you want to talk about
prisons is a big deal, man.
my
They're gonna fight tooth and nail.
Yeah.
I think we need to fix our. I need to fix our people before we give them drugs.
You
And
say
that's a hyperbolic statement. I
Yeah.
don't mean fix in the sense. I mean, let's give them better resources,
Oh, for
better
sure.
quality of life,
Yeah.
and also let's attack this mental health crisis.
Yeah.
And then we can
But within,
give people heroin and cocaine and all those other illicit drugs.
within legaling these things, then you have safe injection sites.
Yeah.
You can also then immediately set people up with counseling,
Mm-hmm.
and you could actually start caring for people, because that's what they do in Portugal, and that's what they do in what is it?
Sweden.
Yeah, Sweden. They have legalized, like, because
Yeah.
in Sweden drugs were a huge problem, where like a mass portion of their population was addicted. Their streets were gross. Like, they literally just legalized drugs because they're like, we can't look like this. We have to fix this.
Or they just send them all to like France and Germany.
Yeah, deported.
Probably, but
Get them out of here.
yeah, they legalized it, and then Portugal, they legalized it because they wanted their country to not be all a bunch of drug addicts.
Yeah.
And they have safe injection sites now, to where you show up like before you'd go to work, and you'd be like, "Yep, I'm here for my heroin," and
Before you
they
go to work.
yeah, before you go to work.
Dude. My
And
morning routine.
like before you go to work, after you go to work, like whenever you would want it, you get
During
to go
work.
in there.
Lunch break.
You can work
And-
while you're
Smoke
high
break.
on heroin.
I don't know,
Smoke
man.
break just
I've
got
never
a whole
done
new,
heroin, so I
whole
couldn't.
new meaning.
But now there's like less than like 3% of each population that's addicted to drugs.
Yeah.
Or
Such a
uses
small
drugs.
population that I just like you can't have the same equivalent outcome when you throw that at a population that's like so many times the size of Sweden. Like,
Oh yeah, no, for sure.
You know,
But
I wonder how that
different-
works at scale.
Well,
Plus-
you
plus
have to
different
do
cultures.
city, so
Mhm.
it would have to be like a state by state thing,
Yeah.
and states would have to have federal guidelines that
Yeah.
were like strenuously oversighted.
Mm.
And
Then government's gonna come in and fuck it up, dude.
oh, of course, that's like the
And
biggest
they're gonna
problem.
create another
I mean,
monster.
obviously, the first thing we have to do is get rid of the just shitty corruption in the government
Yeah.
for anything to work out nicely.
That'll
that's
never
that's a
happen.
yeah. That's
I think they've been trying to do that for like thousands
since
of years.
maybe they signed the declaration.
No,
Like,
no,
oh
yeah.
well, here's the first.
Yeah, they were like,
oh, shit. After
None
that,
of our previous countries could do it right. We're gonna do it right.
yeah.
We're gonna write this document.
Yeah,
No one's
That's-
ever thought of it.
That's why hopefully, as our generation gets older, those people decide to get involved in government. Maybe we'll get better people with better, because I feel our generation has a lot of like moral values
Mm.
as a whole, more compared to the previous generation, to where they were just like very self-centered, very like me. I want everything now.
The previous generations?
Yeah.
I don't know about that.
Yeah, I don't know. It's hard to say.
It is hard
Everyone
I'm
to say.
not
said-
talking about the.
Everyone says that about millennials, though.
Yeah,
Yeah, but I don't agree with that, because I know
Well, you're a
you guys.
millennial.
What?
you're a millennial.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
guess. But I know you guys. You know, I know my brother, and again, like every generation has shitty people,
Mm.
like no matter what it is. But just from seeing how old people act, especially in working in retail
Mhm.
and working in restaurants, the way I'm treated by people who are old and the way that I'm treated by people who are young, there is a drastic difference.
Mhm.
Drastic difference.
I agree, but I don't know if that's necessarily the generations versus like just being old versus young.
Mm.
Because people say that too about like young people always are the ones kind of pushing for change. Like
Mhm.
they're the more like liberal group of the nation.
Oh yeah, for
I
sure.
think that's always true. Like
Yeah.
all the young people coming in, they're always like, no, you guys don't know. Like
Mhm.
Yeah,
that's how it was when you guys
their
were younger.
perspectives are
But this is how it is now.
different.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's
No.
there's always like a misunderstanding between generations because their perspective on life is different.
Yeah.
Because they grew up in a different time.
Yeah.
So it I think
But
that is the issue.
I do feel our generation is more conscientious
Mm.
overall, such as like
Climate
people.
change and stuff like that.
Well, just
or-
climate change. People aren't having as many kids. People are
Mm.
more focused on governmental issues. You know, people are
Maybe
more.
you're just older, man. You're just becoming more aware of these issues. People have cared about these issues, you know, in older generations.
Yeah,
but
man, Bernie Sanders has been around for a while.
no, but he's like one. out of a bunch, you know. But no, I'm just saying. Like,
no, I get.
If
I think
you
your
look
point
on
is
social
taken.
media, you'll see younger and younger people
Yeah.
more deeply involved in these situations. Where before, I don't feel that was a thing.
Yeah.
They were like, let's just leave it up to them and it's fine. And now people are like, well, we can't really fucking do that because these people are crazy. So
Could be with the internet.
He's talking
though.
about Greta.
oh no, I'm not talking
Yeah.
about her.
Greta.
No,
Yeah, he's a Greta
if
fan.
I'm gonna talk about
Thurn-
anybody, if we're gonna say
Thurn-
anybody,
what's
it's
her
gonna be
name?
Boy on Slot. That dude's actually doing something.
The what?
Blind slot.
Boy on Slot, he's the guy who's cleaning up the ocean.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
That's cool.
True.
He's the type of person you need to talk about. Not
That's
so much.
that's
Greta.
the real crisis.
Yeah.
The ocean.
Yeah.
The
I don't know.
ocean.
I watched
Seaspiracy.
Seaspiracy, and now that's all I can think about.
Oh, yeah.
Just the ocean.
Miles said he's not going to the beach anymore.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
no?
Never eating another fish.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't eat fish anymore either. Even if I went to a restaurant to have it every now and then, I'm just always I saw some stuff about that, and I saw about the microfill,
Yeah.
little bits of plastic that'll
Plastic.
get stuck in
You
the
gotta be
fish.
careful where you get your fish from.
I just don't do it now. I'm just like, man, I
Dollar
know
Tree.
fish is good for me to lose weight, but I'm just not even gonna deal with fish because that's gross.
Yeah.
True that. I think we might be clearing the 2-hour mark here.
Well, already? Damn.
Time flies, my brother.
Yeah.
2:10. Look at that.
Oh man. I feel like we talked about some interesting stuff this time.
Yeah.
People are gonna look at this. It's gonna be like under 2 hours. Like 2:10. What did you cut out?
That's so true.
We don't cut shit out, people.
It's gonna be 2
Unless
hours
Miles
15.
says something he's not supposed to. He often does. He has a big mouth.
What am I supposed to? Oh, when I say bad things.
Yeah. We have to cut the canceled part out.
Yeah.
Nah,
There's,
he doesn't
there's
do that.
there's so much content that Chase has that
Yeah.
he doesn't air. That
Oh, yeah?
In
No.
in 30 years when I'm president.
Yeah. I'm gonna. I have ammo on him.
It's gonna be like
Yeah.
the
You're gonna send a government request to make sure that
Yeah.
you can see it all.
There's an orange envelope on the steps of the White House with
Yeah.
just all the dirty material. I have
You just
on
put it in
Miles.
the Lincoln room. That's
Yeah.
where you'll play
from what we learned, it actually doesn't even matter if you're president. So
Yeah, that's
No.
true.
It doesn't.
Good point.
It doesn't.
Good point. Cool,
You guys
man.
want to end with a joke story?
yes.
Okay.
Yeah. What would you guys like to hear?
Oh, I don't know. Whatever you think the good people of the world would like to hear.
Do you guys want to hear the Best Buy story again?
No.
Or do you want to hear the stripper story?
Oh my God!
Or-
Do you want people to hear the stripper story?
It doesn't matter to me, man.
Hold on, we talking about the same stripper story?
Yeah.
Whatever you want, man.
Did I tell you guys the mushroom story last time?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
That was a good one.
Yeah. So I said that one.
He's like, all right, I'm out.
Yeah.
I have 3 good stories.
On that note,
Nope. Disappeared.
Yeah.
No, okay. I guess we'll go with the Best Buy story, and we'll
Yeah.
bury the lead for the stripper story in the future.
Okay.
So when I worked at Best Buy, on the side, I used to hook up equipment people would buy because getting it done through Geek Squad is expensive. And a lot of times people will be like, oh, I'm not going to buy this because I can't get it set up. So in order to have my numbers look well and then also just make some money on the side, I would be like, oh, I'll just come hook it up for you for cash for depending on how long it took, anywhere between $150 and $300. Well, one time a lady came in and she was buying a lot of home theater equipment, really expensive, Harman Kardon speakers,
God damn.
really nice TV, like a Samsung, 55-inch, and
Back then, that was the shit, ladies and gentlemen.
yeah,
None of
this was
80-inch
back in
8K.
back in 2013.
Like $20,000
Yeah,
for 55-inch TV.
Yeah,
55 inch. Like, damn.
Yeah,
55 inches?
Yeah, so she. Oh, speaking of that, dude, could we do what they've done for TV cost for the rest of the world?
Yeah.
'Cause-
Yeah, you can get an 175 inch for $30
Yeah.
at Best Buy right now.
Yeah. So, but it would be, yeah. So she came in, she was buying all this equipment, and I was talking to her, and I would usually talk to my customers quite a lot because it's boring to just constantly scan stuff in and whatever, and it can be a lot of awkward silence if you don't. So I was talking to her.
Were you flirting with this customer, AJ?
I guess unintentionally, but either way,
Yeah.
You
she
flirt.
she told me, she's like, oh, my husband just left me. He left me for a younger girl. That whole thing. And she's like, he won't answer me. He's not coming back. He's in a different country. And I was like, damn, that sucks. I was like, men suck. I was like, I'm so sorry you're dealing with that. And then we got to the end pretty much. And like that, the conversation pretty much just carried on that way. And then we got to the end and I was finishing up the sale and I was like, oh, well, you can have Geek Squad come out and they'll set it up. And if you get that plus the protection, it'll be like $600 extra on your thing. And she's like, well, I don't want to spend that. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. Well, if you buy the protection, I'll come and set it up for you for like $300. So I'll just come set everything up. It's no big deal. And she's like, oh, okay, great. And I had her buy the protection in case anything broke or anything like that. We were able to bring it back with no problems. So I'm not held liable at that point. But either way, so it takes like a week and a half for everything to get delivered to her house. And she texts me and she's like, hey, everything's here. You can come, this day between like 1 and 3. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. I'll be there. So I go to her.
Do you wear a crop top and Speedo?
No.
This is the perfect setup for a porno.
Yeah.
You could like write your own porno, man.
Did you go in and you're like,
I'm all hot and bothered
Mrs.
right
Jones,
now. You just
it's
telling me.
kind of hot out.
Yeah. Mr. Jones.
Tell me what else is going to happen.
So I knock on her door and she opens the door. She's already drinking wine and she's kind of, I don't know, like dressed in, I guess what lounge clothes would be, but like what a hot mom would wear, I guess, overall. And so she's there. She's like, oh, my daughter's already at daycare. And I was like, cool. If she was here, that would have been fine too.
Yeah.
Don't really care.
Thanks for letting me know.
Yeah, I was like, cool.
She's trying to hook you up with her daughter.
I hope not.
Yeah.
Wait, daycare. Sorry.
Yeah.
Whoops.
Didn't hear that part.
That's gonna get edited out. That's
I was misheard.
Yeah. So she, tells me that, and then she takes me to the little space that she wanted because she's always wanted a home theater like set up. She wanted to sell this house. Now she's getting a divorce. She thought I would like let her get more money for it, all that stuff. And I didn't care about any of that stuff. I just wanted the $300 to leave. So I go in and I start like setting the stuff up, and she's like, oh, okay. Well, she was talking to me for like 5 minutes while I was doing it. I was just telling her how long it would probably take me. And she's like, oh, okay, cool. She's like, well, I just have to go into the other room and I'll be back. And I was like, oh no, you don't need to come back. It's all good. Like, this is probably going to take me a while. So like, you can go watch TV or, if you need to leave, that's totally fine too. Like, it's okay. And she's like, no, I'll definitely be back. And I was like, okay, sure, whatever. I guess I'm just going to have to talk to her the entire time, which I didn't want to do because I am a nice person. But if I don't have to talk to you, especially if you're a stranger, I'd rather not.
Stranger danger.
Well, I pretty much took all the speakers out of the box, and now I'm taking out the TV because I was just going to mount the TV first to have it set up. And I go to open the box, and I'm lifting the TV out. And as I'm doing that, I hear her go, like, clear her throat or just, like, make a noise. And I turn, and she's now in some, like, lingerie. And immediately before she could say anything, I just said, oh, no. And she immediately broke down in, like, tears, like, ugly crying, like, sobbing, like, the end of the world.
Yeah.
So I took, like, an hour and a half to console her and let her know, like, it's okay. Like, this stuff happens. Like, I'm sorry that I don't want to have sex with you, but I just don't. I don't want to deal with this.
How old were you when this happened?
I was, like, 20. I think I just turned 21.
Okay.
So, folks, these types of things do actually happen from pornos.
Yeah.
This is how they usually go down.
Yeah. This is way more realistic.
Yeah.
Might this be a lesson to all you hot moms out there? It doesn't work.
Yeah.
If it's AJ.
Yeah. So, and she was just, very upset. So I took like an hour and a half to do that, and then it probably took me like 2 hours more to set up all the equipment because I like ran speakers through the floor, had to go through the ceiling, made it look all pretty, super nice. And then so I did that, and I was like, okay, I'll see you later. I was like, hey, if there's any problems, something's not working, one of the remotes or whatever, just text me and let me know. I'll be able to come back over, and I'll fix that.
Yeah.
I'll fix that.
I can't fix you, but I'll fix that.
I'm not doing anything else. I'll just help you. I'll fix that, and then I gotta go. And she's like, no. She's like, I understand. She's like, thank you for being so sweet about this whole situation. And I was like, it's no problem. Goodbye. And so I got my car, I left. And then like a week later, she fucking brought all that shit back and returned it. So I was really hurt because I took so much time to make sure she felt okay. And then that bitch still returned all
That's
that stuff.
horrible.
Does it hurt your employment? Like you don't make commission off that stuff, right? if they
No, but
return
it hurt my numbers because I had like
Oh.
protection on everything.
Oh, yeah.
I sold
And you
Harman
get
Carter,
a piece of that
like,
stuff, right?
Well, no, it
The
just it
protection.
makes it
If
makes
you wanted
me
to get a
look good.
promotion.
Yeah, I was like thinking about getting a promotion. I'm happy I never did anything at Best Buy to get a promotion though, or like the same thing.
Yeah, you didn't
want to
get trapped in that.
Yeah, because I would have just
retail
got trapped in that fucking bullshit.
You should change that story a bit.
Okay.
And then tell it where like you finish all the stuff, you're like ready to go, you're kind of sweaty and stuff, and then at the end she's like, "Oh, how could I ever repay you?"
Yeah. I would have been like
better.
$300.
Yeah, $300. That's it. I don't want anything else.
I don't need anything. And the thing was like, she wasn't like unattractive. She was like, if you're from Naples or if you're from like California or whatever, you know what it's like to see a middle-aged like divorced mom, like someone who's in their late 30s, early 40s.
Mm-hmm.
They're not like ridiculously attractive, but they're also not.
How
disgusting.
dare you? How dare you attack our user base?
This is your user
No,
base?
I'm kidding.
Please don't talk to me. I
Damn.
can't set up any equipment.
Block the
Never mind.
comments on this one. You're
I
gonna
love,
get a lot of in your inbox.
I love all
hey,
people.
Can you
Hopefully that demographic listens.
Yeah.
Oh, I love all people too. I hope they do too, so then they understand that.
They
like,
won't though. We talked about Marvel and DC too much at the beginning.
Probably.
all the guys.
Should we do like a wife check? Is that what you're supposed to do?
if you
they
work
listen?
at Best Buy right now and you're listening and you haven't had this experience, you're missing out because apparently it happens all the time.
The Best Buy boy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No. Also, I forgot to say, Hannah is the person who bought me this shirt.
Oh, shout out to
I
Hannah.
wore that for
Nice shirt,
this,
dude.
and yeah, I forgot.
You're
forgot
rocking
to
it,
shout her
by
out.
the way.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
It feels very nice.
Hannah was
Mhm.
like our second.
Second podcast.
For all you guys listening,
Third
he's
podcast,
wearing
yeah.
this lovely floral pattern. It's almost a Hawaiian shirt looking
Yeah.
type of deal.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's it's really
appropriate.
dope though.
I
But
like it.
Thanks, Hannah.
Yeah. Thank
Yeah.
you.
And
Well,
thank you.
Making me look fly.
Thank you, AJ, for being on.
Oh no, I appreciate
The
it.
second time. Wow.
I'm happy to be on. I hope I did well enough to be on a third. time.
Terrible. You know what I wanted to get to, we didn't, is you had cancer, right?
Yeah.
Testicular cancer. I wanted
Yeah.
to get through, but we're gonna save that.
Oh,
we're gonna leave that as a
shit.
cliffhanger.
You know what we can do for the next one? If we remember, we can talk about my jail experiences
Oh my god.
and my testicular cancer.
Everybody's at home going, "Who is this guy?"
Yeah.
AJ.
No, yeah, we'll leave it at that and
Okay.
let you come back soon enough, and we'll talk more about that. But really appreciate you being on. Thanks for listening, everybody.
Yes, thank
Miles,
you.
final thoughts.
Just say ducks.
Take care of your testicles.
Yeah. Check yourself
Check yourself.
before you wreck yourself.
Mhm.
There it is,
On
right
that
there.
note, everybody, good night.
night.
Adios.